855-939-1137. That's 855-939-1137. And I promise to answer the phone and help you with your situation. That's right, your house may be cluttered. It may be a house that a relative left you, or it may just be a house you just want to get rid of. 855-939-1137.
Ready to redefine your home style? Bucks County Estate Traders offers a breathtaking collection of furniture to suit every taste. From timeless antiques to chic modern designs, discover thousands of meticulously cared for pieces, each one inspected for quality. Explore their ever-changing inventory, featuring styles from classic Victorian to sleek contemporary and charming coastal. And with their expert team often reupholstering finds, you're sure to discover unique treasures ready to make a statement in your home. Visit BucksCountyEstateTraders.com or their showroom in Hatfield today.
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too. Newsmax has been terrific.
President Trump is right. Millions like you are tuning into Newsmax. You're watching Newsmax on cable. You're going to our streaming channel, Newsmax 2. And you're downloading our free Newsmax app on your smartphones and TVs. Reuters Institute says we're now one of the top news brands in the nation. Every night, watch great shows with Rob Schmidt, Carl Higbie, Rob Finnerty, and more as they expose the big media lies, the Washington swamp, and they're never afraid to talk about faith, freedom, and the values that made us great. Find out why Newsmax is the fastest-growing news channel in America. Make the switch today and join our news revolution. Get Newsmax on cable, on streaming, and download the free app today. It takes just seconds to start. Let President Trump know you stand with Newsmax. It's for real news, for real people. Make the switch today.
Hi, I'm Joe Mederchuk, PNC Bank Regional President. As presenting sponsor of the Eagles Radio Network, PNC Bank loves an exciting game. But we also think a little boring can go a long way. You see, boring banking means you're doing the right things. That is why PNC leaves a third and long to the professionals. Reliable fiscal strategies are more in our zone anyway. PNC Bank, brilliantly boring since 1865. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC.
What's up, everybody? I'm Nick Costos, and watching sports isn't a hobby, it's a lifestyle. And my show is not a job, it's a passion. From the NFL playoffs to the NBA and everything in between, celebrate sports with me every day on You Better You Bet from 9 a.m. to noon Eastern. Download the Odyssey app now and listen to Westwood One Sports from anywhere. It's You Better You Bet with me, Nick Costos, live and interactive Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to noon Eastern, presented by BetMGM.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. A major winter storm is forecast to bring a mix of ice, snow, and frigid conditions to a 2,000-mile expanse of the country from the southern plains to the south and up to the northeast through the weekend. Meals on Wheels volunteers across the South are scrambling to make extra deliveries. More from CBS's Michael Wallace.
Hello, it's Sam with Metro Meals on Wheels.
Samantha Donaldson is delivering a week's worth of shelf-stable meals to her clients in Nashville in case the power goes out. At Meals on Wheels Atlanta, CEO Charlene Crusoe Ingram's volunteers have already delivered meals to cover several days.
For inclement weather, we have to have a plan, and we do.
This meal recipient in Atlanta appreciates the effort.
It makes me feel really loved and cared for. I've never received this kind of love before in my life.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
The Department of Homeland Security disputes a Minnesota school district's claim that ICE agents used a 5-year-old boy as bait before taking the boy and his father into custody on Wednesday. DHS officials allege that the father, whom they describe as an illegal immigrant from Ecuador, was taken into custody as other ICE officers stayed with the child. Border Patrol Commander-at-Large Gregory Bovino is accusing the media and protesters of spreading false narratives about what immigration agents are doing.
I challenge any other law enforcement agency anywhere nationwide to show me the fantastic care that ICE and U.S. Border Patrol provide children. Don't come across the border illegally, especially don't commit crimes or there will be consequences.
From the powder to the pen, the FBI has captured one of its most wanted fugitives, former Olympic snowboarder and alleged drug kingpin Ryan Wedding. FBI Director Kash Patel.
Here we are today, bringing him to justice for trafficking hundreds of kilos of cocaine and also for the murder of innocent civilians.
President Trump and Vice President Vance have addressed the annual March for Life in the nation's capital. On stage, the vice president told the crowd,
all of us in the Trump administration, from the president on down, we thank you for your prayers, we thank you for your perseverance, and we thank you that for today, we are all marching for life.
Video game makers entered 2026 with positive momentum. CBS's Jason Brooks.
Industry researcher Circana reported that video game industry sales rose 3% in December from a year earlier, thanks to strong content sales, fueled by a 24% jump in subscription spending. Hardware sales rose 6%, with the Nintendo Switch 2 the leading console seller, while demand declined for Sony's PlayStation 5 and Microsoft's Xbox, with the Xbox suffering its worst ever year for sales.
Stocks mixed on Wall Street. The Dow was down 291 points. This is CBS News.
Follow and listen to CBS Mornings on the go on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
My name is
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
On this 23rd day of January, 3:03 in Philadelphia on 1210 WPHT. Shawn Farash with you here for the afternoon show all the way till 6 o'clock p.m. on the eve of what looks like is going to be a very powerful and impactful winter storm that is going to be impacting my area here in Tennessee, your area up there in Philadelphia, the East Coast, friends of mine. Family back on Long Island, looking at potential foot plus of snow. I'm a weather hobbyist at heart, well, not at heart, but part of it. I've always been obsessed with the weather. I remember when I used to live on Long Island, these types of storms were my favorite thing. I would stay up until 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning sometimes, looking at model runs, staring at model runs, and trying to figure out how much snow we were going to get. I won a snowfall prediction contest once for a friend of mine at an archery store. He goes, hey, how much snow do you think is going to fall at this location? I looked at some of the models and said, I don't know. Let's say it's like 17 and a half inches. I was about a half inch off. Won a contest. Nice. I didn't need this stuff over there, but it was nice to win that contest. The biggest winter storm possibly of the season thus far as we wrap up the month of January in about a week. Interesting how time has flied. Time has flown. I don't know. Who cares? English isn't the primary language of this country anyway. Not the way it's been going. We're going to be live here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, as I said, till 6 o'clock Eastern time. And we've got a lot to cover today. Obviously, that winter storm. We've got media lies about ICE. Not the winter storm ICE, but the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, that agency. The media pushing a nonsense story about how ICE apparently, they say they detained a 5-year-old. My question is, does anybody really believe that anymore? I mean, I know there's going to be people that are going to parrot it and go, this is like Ilhan Omar. Some people did something. But I know that there's going to be, people who will parrot it and go, this is terrible. You got the Krasensteins on X. They ran with the Maryland Man hoax. Same thing. Oh, the ICE deported an American citizen. Kilmar Brago Garcia is just a Maryland dad. MS-13 gang member, human trafficker, alleged wife beater, all of those other things. They just kind of left that out. He's a Maryland dad, though. He's a dad. He's in Maryland. You ever see that bit from Brian Regan, the comedian? He talks about how he was in school and, the science project. He, made a solar system and You didn't really know. The big yellow one is the sun. That's what these people do. The big yellow one is the sun. Tell me about the solar system. The big yellow one is the sun. Tell me about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Well, he's a dad. And he's from Maryland. So, like, he's a Maryland dad. And he shouldn't be in El Salvador because El Salvador is not Maryland. He's a dad from Maryland. So he's a Maryland dad. Got to bring him back. I forget where they said they're going to deport him to. Costa Rica, I think, is the premier destination. I think his lawyers were like, the only place he's willing to be deported is Costa Rica. I didn't know you had a choice. But, hey, by the way, as long as the place you're being deported to isn't named the United States of America, I'm totally fine with it. I want that guy out of our country. Same with that Mahmoud Khalil guy. You know what I'm talking about, that pro-Hamas rioter, agitator on a foreign visa, student visa, whatever it was, organizing all those campus riots in Colombia, etc. He's a terror supporter. He's set to be deported to Algeria. I think it's in Africa. Fine. Again, I don't care where he goes as long as he doesn't go here, as long as he's not here anymore. Get out. Out. See ya. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you, is what I like to say. But the media right now, back to this, not only we have an ice storm coming here in Tennessee, but the media has been focusing their ire, their energy on immigration and customs enforcement. And you have to ask yourself, why? You know, at the beginning of last year, remember the beginning of last year? What was the media focused on, hyper-focused on for so long? What was it? Remember? Think back. Think back. Last year, Donald Trump freshly sworn in. DOGE. Remember DOGE? The Department of Government Efficiency? Remember that? They were focused on all the people that, Elon Musk is going to steal your Social Security information. Yeah, because Elon Musk wants Shawn Farash's Social Security number. Right, that's right. Elon Musk is about to be a trillionaire. He needs my identity to what? What does he need that for precisely? I never understood how that one landed, and it didn't. But the media attacks, you see, one of the easiest ways for me to determine what is important to talk about and where it is important to dig in our heels and dig in our stances and give no ground. I don't want to give any ground ever, but the media and the left will always tell us where we should be digging in and what we should be digging in on. And back in last January, last February, last March, right, the first quarter or so of the year, it was DOGE. It was rooting out waste, fraud, and abuse. It was auditing government spending. It was shutting down USAID. It was ending a ton of the foreign aid. And you had people, well, what are you going to do about the people in Africa who have AIDS? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, heartbreaking. But why is it our job? Here's my question. Why is it our job? We don't want the AIDS to spread. Come to the United States. I don't want to see people get hurt. And by the way, you could start a foundation and collect donations and donate to the cause that way. It should not be stolen and looted and pillaged from the United States taxpayer when we have homeless veterans here who I believe deserve attention before anybody in Africa who is suffering from a terrible disease. Don't get me wrong, but I'd rather take care of veterans. I'd rather take care of our people first. Doesn't mean we can't take care of other people later. We have to address our needs first. So it was a whole conversation last year. It was a whole conversation back in January and February and March, right, about DOGE and all of that. Okay? We have this story now, again, about ICE. This story about Immigration and Customs Enforcement detaining a kid didn't happen. This is what the media is doing. They are creating scenarios that didn't happen and acting as if they happened, right? And that's the worst part about this, because a lot of people, and we were talking about this on the morning show, a lot of people think that these mainstream media talking heads are objective newscasters, and they're not. They're opinion hosts. They're opinion hosts. And there's nothing wrong with being an opinion host, by the way, as long as you're honest about it. I tell everybody on my show, I tell everybody wherever I do any sort of content, streaming, broadcasting, whatever it is, I may not always tell you what you want to hear, but I will always tell you what I believe to be the truth and why I believe it to be the truth. But a lot of the times you listening to me, you hear opinions. I'll try and base them in fact, and I'll try and tell you why I have those opinions. But I've been wrong, and I'm not going to tell you if I'm giving you my opinion that it is a cold hard fact. But the media is digging in on attacking ICE right now. Last year, they were digging in on attacking Doge. Remember Doge, Tesla, the people lighting those cars on fire, keying those cars in the parking lot, terrorizing the dealerships. Remember all that? Now it's ICE. ICE is the Gestapo. ICE killed a U.S. citizen. ICE detained a child. ICE is arresting U.S. citizens. ICE is brutal. ICE is this. ICE is bad. ICE this. ICE that. I'm tired of it, but I'll tell you what. Clearly they're doing this because it plays well to their base. It energizes their base. This is what it means. And this is why they're doing it. Obviously, two reasons. Like I said, it energizes their base. It galvanizes their base. It gives them that whole kind of sense of being, right? We exist to fight ICE, Trump's Gestapo. We will abolish ICE. It's just abolish ICE is the new defund the police from 2020. Black Lives Matter from 2020. That's what abolish ICE is now. That's what it is. That's what it is. And while it plays well to their base, my mission when I look at that is, okay, it plays well to the base, but does it play well outside of their base? Well, right now it's having an impact on independents and even some Republicans who are seeing this going, oh yeah, that just doesn't look good. Why are we so focused on deportation? What do you mean? Why are we so focused on deportations? If somebody was illegally in your house, you'd want them out, right? And you'd probably be upset with somebody who goes, well, why are you so focused on that guy, that undocumented tenant of yours, right? That undocumented house guest, right? Why are you so focused on that? Just let him stay. Who cares? He's not bothering anybody. Yeah, but he's living off of your resources, not paying your bills, not contributing to anything, using your water, using your electricity, eating your food, drinking your water, drinking your beer. If you're into that kind of thing. So it plays well to the left-wing base. That's one. Number two, why does the mainstream media, why does the radical left, why does the entire messaging apparatus hyper-focus on one thing from time to time? Right now, it's ICE. A year ago, it was Doge and cutting wasteful spending and waste, fraud, and abuse. How come they labeled it, Nick Shirley, a white supremacist and a racist, for uncovering the Somali fraud scandal and the massive daycare fraud scandal in Minnesota? How come they went after him? Because sunlight is the greatest disinfectant, and all of their nastiness right now is being exposed to a whole hell of a lot of sunlight. ICE is clearly effective. ICE is clearly succeeding at a level that makes the left uncomfortable. And when the left is uncomfortable, I am happy. ICE has been very effective removing illegal aliens, and they want to slow it down. The question is why? And how does that play well outside of your radical left base? Well, right now they can again focus on some of the pictures and spin it in such a way that it looks bad and it looks brutal, and they make their comparisons to Nazi Germany. But when you dive into the details, into the facts, I think, and if we can get this information out to the swing voters that can go either way, Pennsylvania, for example, is a swing state. It has gone either way in the last couple of elections. 2016, it was red. 2020, it was blue, asterisk. 2024, it was red again in terms of the presidential election. Swing voters can look at this and look at what ICE is doing and go, wow, that looks real bad. But when you give them the details, the facts of who ICE is taking off of the streets, suddenly I think you're going to see the sentiment change. ICE has been doing the right thing all along. J.D. Vance, which we'll play next segment, had a clip about the media, their malpractice, the way they frame stories, the way they omit details, and it's hard to believe that they're not omitting these details purposefully. This whole idea that they detained a 5-year-old, folks, is ridiculous. Ridiculous. It's obvious that they didn't detain a 5-year-old child. It's clear. What happened in that case? They were going after the 5-year-old's father, and the father, not wanting to be arrested, basically said, F the 5-year-old, we're going to abandon that guy, and he took off on foot. They arrested him, and rather than saying, well, you know, we don't want the media to look at us and say we're detaining a 5-year-old, and letting that 5-year-old walk around and wander around in the dead of the winter in Colorado, rather than doing any of that, they accompanied that 5-year-old and they made sure that 5-year-old was safe. Right? You just let the kid wander around. Who knows who's going to scoop him up? No good. No good. This is where we are now with the mainstream media. The mainstream media will never give this administration the credit that it deserves for some of the remarkable achievements that it has chalked up in its first year, like murders being way down. You say, oh, that's not all President Trump. Yeah, but if murders were way up, what would you think the media would be saying? Murders are on the rise under President Trump. Murders are on the rise. You know that drug overdoses are way down. But it's, that's not Donald Trump. That's we're getting away from the pandemic. Less people want to use drugs. But if the drug overdoses were way up, they'd say they need to get high to escape Trump's chaos. You know it. My goal here is, and it has been since the day after the 2024 election, but really, I stated this clearly on my show, January 2nd. I said, my goal is to win the 2026 midterms. And by win, I mean keep the House of Representatives and keep the Senate. That's my goal. How do we do that? Well, we need to reach independents with very important information. One of the things I hear all the time is like, oh, there's no way to find common ground anymore between the parties. And it's hard to talk politics with people, but it really isn't. It really isn't. Because common ground can be found. I didn't mean to rhyme, but common ground can be found through conversations that are based in common sense. For example, ask one of your independent friends. Any one of your independent friends, somebody maybe who's loosely paying attention to politics. They're out on the periphery. Maybe they ride the fence. They are on both sides. They have, maybe some of these people who are like fiscally conservative, but socially liberal, right? These are swing voters. Nothing wrong with that. Seriously, nothing wrong with that. Right? But we all know these people. Go to one of these people that you have, friends, coworkers, whatever. And just, here's an easy way to find common ground. Ask them this question. Hey, sir, ma'am, do you want to live in a safe community or an unsafe community? Who in their right mind is going to go, I want to live in an unsafe community? Nobody. The answer to that question is not, I am purposely going to move. I'm going to sell my house in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and I'm moving straight deep into the heart of Memphis. One of the most dangerous cities in America. Why? Why are you doing that? You must be doing that because there's a job there. No, I'm doing that because I want to experience a bad city. I'm doing that because I want to put my family at risk. Nobody is going to say that. Nobody. Okay. So if you want to live in a safe community, what makes your community safe? Ask them, what makes your community safe? Well, you have strong law enforcement. You have law-abiding citizens. People are deterred from breaking the law. There are consequences for those who break the law, right? You've got a class of people, not a race of people, a class of people who respect law enforcement, who respect the rule of law. And you say, okay, cool. Can you tell me some of these cities like Nashville, like New York City, like Philadelphia, where there's a lot of violent crime? Okay, we're not talking jaywalking here. We're not talking about little petty shoplifting. Someone stuck a pack of gum in their pocket. Not that that's okay. Don't do that. Don't steal. It's illegal. It's against the law. It's immoral. But you see some of these violent crimes, assaults, rapes, aggravated battery, drugs, murders, right? Attempted murders, kidnappings, carjackings, all of these things. And you say, you don't want to live in a place where stuff like that is common, right? You say, no, of course not. Your independent friend says, no, of course not. I don't want to live in a place like that. Okay, then you don't want to live under the rule of Democrats because they encourage, their policies encourage that. The lack of consequences, cashless bail, they encourage all of that. And then when you tie it back in with your independent friends about mass deportations, and you say, they're not just going around saying, hey, you're brown, get in the van, you're getting sent to another place. They know who they're going after. And this is why I'm very excited to show you this, this website that the Department of Homeland Security has put up and launched. DHS.gov/wow. That's what it is. DHS.gov/wow. What does WOW stand for? It's not the old Opie and Anthony WOW, not that WOW. DHS.gov/WOW stands for worst of the worst. Ladies and gentlemen, this morning on my show on LFA TV, we did a live, it was on the screen, it was a whole thing. And we started searching for various crimes, and there were hundreds of pages. Hundreds of pages of illegal aliens. You could search by crime. You could search by state. You could search by name. You could search by country of origin. This is one of the most important tools. It is your tool to use. Your tool to use. Go when you're having a conversation with your independent friends, go, look at this is what ICE is doing. They're not detaining children. This is what they're doing. They're taking people off the streets who are aggravated assaulters, rapists, human smugglers, kidnappers, murderers, drug traffickers, drug dealers. They're not just walking around going, hey, you look Hispanic, get in the van, amigo, you're going home. That's not what they're doing. Do you know how useful this could be if we use it? This destroys every single narrative that the left has thrown out there about ICE and the mass deportation apparatus. Every single narrative is destroyed when you go, really? They're deporting American citizens? Really? They're detaining 5-year-olds? Because I see hundreds of pages here on DHS.gov/wow that proves that that's not true, that they're removing rapists from your community, burglars from your community, assailants from your community, carjackers from your community, drug dealers from your community. And every time ICE comes into your community and takes one of those people out, and these are not just people who have been accused of these crimes, these are people who have been convicted of these crimes. Convicted. You want to talk about due process? They've had their due process. They've been convicted of those crimes. They're now out of your community. So the final question when you're having these conversations with your independent friends, is your community safer or less safe after those people have been removed? Do you feel safer walking your dog, going for a walk with your kids, if you're, 15, 16-year-olds going to go ride a bike, do you feel safer about that? Do you feel better about that? Knowing that those people are out of your community, do you feel worse? I wish that rapist was roaming around while my 14-year-old daughter rides her bike around the neighborhood. I really wish she was going to pass some illegal alien rapist, human smuggler. No, of course not. DHS.gov/wow. We'll get to some of that. We'll get to some of the anti-ICE hoaxes that have been destroyed, namely this nonsense about a detained child, which is complete nonsense. We have a clip from J.D. Vance on that. A bunch of information about the church assault in Minnesota. Some of their suspects have been arrested. The Clintons, towards the end of the show, we'll talk about them. Refer to the Department of Justice, or about to be referred to the Department of Justice for contempt of Congress. So much to get to. The winter storm, I'll give you updates on that. So much to get to right here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. The number to call in, 855-839-1210, 855-839-1210. I do see David in South Carolina. We will get to you, David, in South Carolina, next segment with a question about this topic already. 855-839-1210 if you want to jump in. Shawn Farash filling in here on the WPHT afternoon show, taking you all the way to 6 o'clock. We'll be right back after this.
Hey, Dawn Stensland here. Kick off your new year on a high note with a new certified or pre-owned vehicle from my friends at the Piazza Auto Group. Did you know Piazza carries more than 3,500 new vehicles and 1,600 pre-owned vehicles at any given time, like Honda, Acura, Mazda, Hyundai, and Volkswagen, plus pretty much any other brand that you can think of. Now that's selection. Visit PiazzaAutogroup.com, search Piazza's new and pre-owned inventory, or to find a dealer nearest you. Make sure you tell them Dawn sent you.
Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Trust and Will. My dad and I were always close, but some things we just didn't talk about, like his will. After he was gone, we found out he didn't have one, and it created a lot of stress during a time of grief.
Creating a will can be hard to think about, but avoiding it can lead to greater difficulty for the people you love. That's why Trust and Will makes estate planning simple. Create a will online in as little as 30 minutes.
Now, I have a will in place to make sure my loved ones are protected. With Trust and Will, it was easy and affordable, and I got peace of mind knowing my wishes are clear. Trust and Will.
Get 20% off when you visit trustandwill.com/plan. That's trustandwill.com/plan to get 20% off. trustandwill.com/PLAN.
What's up? It's Draymond Green. I'm back for my 14th NBA season, and my podcast, The Draymond Green Show, is back too. This season, I'm breaking down games, reacting to the biggest NBA stories, and sitting down with teammates, rivals, and culture shapers. And trust me, I'm not holding back, on the court or on the mic. 2 new episodes every week, new segments, big conversations, real basketball talk for the real hoop heads. Listen to and follow The Draymond Green Show wherever you get your podcasts. We're back, we're better, let's get it.
I dared Archwell Health to keep track of my vitals and my grandkids' names.
I dared Archwell Health to simplify my prescriptions, so Max and I have more time to play. Good boy.
And I dared Archwell Health to be closer than my neighborhood coffee shop.
Our members dared us to do more as a primary care provider for adults age 60 and up. So we made it our mission. Visit archwellhealth.com and become a member today. Archwell Health. We dare to care.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by University of Maryland Global Campus.
Office workers using Slack will now have extra AI capabilities at their fingertips. Salesforce-owned Slack released an AI-powered version of the Slack bot AI agent, with the company saying that it will bring together a person's conversations in Slack, as well as other files and channels, to help find information and speed up workflows by understanding how teams speak to each other. Slackbot also has access to data in Salesforce. I'm Jason Brooks.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, Call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-393-4600. That's 800-393-4600.
Snow, ice, wind, cold.
Quite cold. Travel is going to become extremely difficult and dangerous.
The biggest storm in years is bearing down on Philadelphia. Now's the time to prepare. Up-to-the-minute details on traffic, power outages, and everything you need to keep you and your family safe. Stay connected. Ask your smart speaker to play KYW News Radio. Or listen on the Odyssey or iHeartRadio apps. Storm coverage you can count on. KYW News Radio, 103.9 FM.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55. But unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, NewNordicUSA.com, or your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
Now back to the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
This is Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Welcome back here on 1210 WPHT, the afternoon show, taking you up to 6 o'clock. Sorry, 6 o'clock in the evening. TNT. We love ACD. I got along very well with ACDC. Tremendous people. Australian people. They're great, you know, and I got along well with the kangaroos and the dingoes and all them in Australia. But I'm done as the President of the United States. We're going to become the Prime Minister of Australia. It's still MAGA. Make Australia great again. We're going to turn the Great Barrier Reef into the greatest barrier reef, the Golden Barrier Reef. Think about it. I love that song, AC/DC. I can't believe he's like so like, wow, like that voice is just so, I don't know. Are all Australians like that? Jet kind of sounded like that too. That was an Australian band too, Jet. All right, let's start off this segment. We're going to get into a bunch of talk about ice here, but let's start off this segment with the caller, David in South Carolina. What's up, David?
Hey, Shawn, I'll tell you, Mr. President, if Australia was a bigger fan of yours, they wouldn't be the land down under. They'd be the land up over, you know?
They would be the land up over. Great people. Tremendous people. We love the outback. We love the dingoes. The dingoes are tremendous. The dingoes are tremendous. What's up, David? What do you got?
So two things real quick. First of all, you talk about the crime numbers, and it made me think of this, Shawn. When we talk about a city like, say, Chicago, who this weekend will probably see about 8 to 12 kids killed and everything, and they say, well, that's how many victims. But think about a city like Chicago. The true victim count is in the tens of thousands, because when you live in that city and you can't just sit on your front doorstep or walk down the street safely, you're a victim.
Yep.
So it's not just the people being killed. These cities are overrun with victims because of that. But to a larger extent, when you see these people, these women like the one in Target, proudly putting the shopping carts there and then trying to get people to leave, and I'm doing something, I'm taking an action, I'm putting a shopping cart here. What I wonder is when you see crazy like that, and when you see a false narrative about this 5-year-old, do you think, because you got the 40% that are going to vote Republican, you got the 40% Democrat, but the 20 in the middle, do you think any of this crazy pushes people to the right?
I think it's a great question, and I'm going to answer this like it's going to sound like a Tony Robbins motivational speech, right? Or like a football locker room talk, right? You know what'll push people to the right? We will. We will. I don't like when I mean, listen, I'm a Jet fan, so however the Jets find a way to make the playoffs, fine. Okay. But doesn't it always feel better to earn your way in than to back in, right? And to hope somebody else makes a mistake. Now, when they make a mistake, you can capitalize on it for sure. And that's what we can do. But how do we yes, to answer your question in a way, all of these actions against ICE and all this negativity about ICE and these lies, is that going to push centrists to the right? Yes. If we are the catalyst, and we can be the catalyst, I encourage everybody. We proved this in 2024. It has been my political thesis since 2020 when I started a group on Long Island called The Loud Majority. I said there are more of us who are grounded in common sense and grounded in the truth and want to live in safe communities and have this common ground with each other than there are of them. So if there's more of us, we should not be a quote unquote silent majority. We should be very loud about the fact that we believe in the truth, that we believe in these common sense approaches. And so, yes, it can push people to the right if we are the catalysts, right? If we are, they're striking the matches. We have to be the gasoline that blows their whole narrative up, right? Obviously, rhetorically speaking, but this is it. We can do it if we want it. We can do it.
All right. Thanks a lot. Great show. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. I mean, it's a great question, but I don't want to rely on just my opponent's mistakes. I also want to rely on the fact that if we want to have a high-powered offense, we can have a high-powered offense, right? And I feel like sometimes Republicans are a little afraid and a little shy of taking chances. Well, if we embrace deportations, won't we look like racists? No, you will not look like a racist. You will look like what you claim to be, somebody who supports law and order. And like I said this, I've said it a few times. I always, I have this thing. I say 100% of illegal aliens are criminals because technically they are. They violated a crime when they entered the country illegally. First offense is a misdemeanor. Second offense is a felony. It's a crime. It is illegal to enter the country illegally. Hence, illegal entry of alien. That's the name of the statute, right? But we could play semantics all day long, and that's fun to kind of troll people that way. But when you look at that dhs.gov/wow site, these are not just illegal aliens who found their way into the country and are kind of hiding. These are very bad people. Very bad people. And there's one party who wants those people out of our country, and there's another party who is doing everything in their power to make sure that those bad people stay in your community. For example, on dhs.gov/wow, I found this morning that there was a nasty, nasty guy. It might have been heroin or human smuggling or kidnapping or some sort of just really, really nasty stuff about a child in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I take offense to the Pramila Jayapals and the Ilhan Omars and the AOCs and the Hakeem Jeffries and the Chuck Schumers going, oh, these people, they're just in search of a better life. Screw you. That dirtbag was in my neighborhood. I want him out. You want him to stay. I am never supporting anybody who wants those people lurking on my streets. Never going to happen. Never going to happen. The media wants to pretend that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Also didn't happen. The child was abandoned by his dad. His own personal freedom, the father, was more important than the well-being of his kid. To the point where ICE had to then assume the responsibilities, make sure the kid was safe. And did the right thing. They didn't detain him. They didn't put the kid in cuffs. The child's not in jail. The child was abandoned by his dad and kept safe by ICE. Would you rather have the 5-year-old wandering around Colorado in the dead of winter where anybody could scoop him up or he could freeze to death or get frostbite, hypothermia, get lost, get hit by a car? Would you rather have that, or would you rather know that a law enforcement officer has this little boy and is going to make sure that he's delivered safely, by the way, to whoever the father designated him to be delivered to? And that's what happened. detained a 5-year-old. Give me a break. But Ilhan Omar ran with it. I want to play this clip from J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance on the media malpractice, misrepresenting the facts, and this quote-unquote ICE detained a 5-year-old. Let's roll that clip.
A local school district here is alleging ICE agents detaining a 5-year-old after preschool on Tuesday. We've also seen multiple American citizens detained by ICE or harassed by ICE in the last 6 weeks. Are you proud of how your administration is conducting this immigration crackdown here in Minnesota?
Well, I'm proud of the fact that we're standing behind law enforcement, and I'm proud of the fact that we're enforcing the country's laws. But, you asked a question about this 5-year-old kid. I actually saw this terrible story while I was coming to Minneapolis. We just left Toledo, Ohio this morning for an economic messaging event. And I see this story, and I'm a father of a 5-year-old, actually, a 5-year-old little boy. And I think to myself, oh, my God, this is terrible. How did we arrest a 5-year-old? Well, I do a little bit more follow-up research. And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien, and then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death? Are they not supposed to arrest an illegal alien in the United States of America? If the argument is that you can't arrest people who have violated our laws because they have children, then every single parent is going to be completely given immunity from ever being the subject of law enforcement. That doesn't make any sense. No one thinks that makes any sense. Now, there are so many of these cases like that where if you just understand the context, there have been a number of situations that I've looked into personally where I say, wait a second. We don't want ICE arresting American citizens. They're supposed to be enforcing the immigration laws against illegal aliens. So then I look into it and I find out that the American citizen who was arrested took a swing at an ICE officer. You can't have that happen. And of course they have to defend themselves. And of course they have the right to detain somebody who assaults a law enforcement officer. Now, this is my point. Do we want these things to happen? Do we want these arrests to be so chaotic? No, we don't. These guys want it least of all. But if we had a little cooperation from local and from local and state officials, I think the chaos would go way down in this community.
It's hard to disagree with the common sense. And this is why I love J.D. Vance, right? And why I'm so high on him and why, if you've been listening to Kale and Company for the duration of, when I started coming on with them, we started talking about who the VP pick. I started getting on Vance pretty early. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but I kind of got on that one pretty early. This is why. You hear that, and what do you disagree with? Do you, if you're a leftist, should people be getting into fights with cops? Well, the answer from any leftist is yes, except on January 6th. Then beating up police officers was bad. No, how about beating up police officers is bad, and I don't care who does it. I don't care who does it. If you're fighting with cops, and obviously you weren't provoked, but you're running up to police officers, taking a swing at them and calling them the Gestapo, that's a problem. You should be arrested and charged with a crime. Is there anything that J.D. Vance said in there that you disagree with? Parents can no longer be arrested. Why? Because they're parents? So does that mean we could just, you can have moms and dads just go rob banks together? And, well, you can't arrest me because I have a son, I have a daughter, I have a family. Well, you shouldn't have robbed a bank if you didn't want to be separated from your family. Right? So just think, right? Just think. Just think about what Vance said there, and you can be the megaphone. You could be the amplifier. You could be the messenger of that. Again, I'm not trying to change the mind of anybody on the left. Hey, if we get them to change their mind, great. It is that middle that David in South Carolina was talking about, that 20% in the middle that we have to influence if we want to win the 2026 midterms. And you could very, 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 very effectively influence them by you don't have to lie. You don't have to make anything up. You don't have to come in there with some sort of angle. Your angle is the truth. The truth is on your side. You don't even have to construct that detailed of a case. You have this website, dhs.wow. DHS.gov/wow. These worst of the worst. I searched Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I see false imprisonment, which is essentially kidnapping, driving under the influence of alcohol. This is in my city. Possession of stolen property, aggravated assault, driving under the influence of liquor, crimes against a person, driving under the influence of liquor, stolen vehicle. There's 3 pages of this, of sexual assault. This is just in my city. And I have Democrats up in Nashville saying abolish ICE? Wait a second. You want those people to stay in my community? Is that a clip? You know, hell no. The guy singing to the no. I'm singing that song all the way up to Nashville. Possession of a weapon, possession of a hallucinogen in a weapon, and sales of it. Destroying evidence, identity theft, aggravated assault. These are all people. This is just in my city, Murfreesboro. In my city. I don't want those people in my city. And I will tell you this, any of your independent friends, any of your swing voter friends, any of your undecided friends will say, I don't want those people in my community either. Yeah, well, then you don't want to support the Democrats because they want it to be that those guys are not deported. They want ICE abolished. ICE the only people getting rid of these people. ICE the only people getting rid of them. Think of that. So the media wants to run with their anti-ICE hoaxes? Great. Oh, they're detaining children? Great. Keep running with that because we now have a very easy tool, an amazing tool in this DHS.gov/wow to debunk all that in real time and to advance the political football with this issue, a common sense issue that will make sense to anybody who you talk to who's an undecided voter. We'll have more on that when we come back and we wrap up hour 1 here on the 1210 WPHT afternoon show. Shawn Farash with you till 6 o'clock tonight. Stay right there. We'll be back after this.
At Odyssey, we believe in creating a diverse and inclusive workforce. We also value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be notified of all our open positions. That's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for all our listeners, please visit odysseyinc.com/careers for a list of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations.
Announcing that gold has surpassed $4,800 an ounce last week, and silver is at an all-time high as well. If you need cash to help pay those holiday bills, then you must go to the Estates Roadshow. Gold and silver, old rings, chains, and even broken jewelry. Don't wait. Cash in while gold and silver are hot. 3 locations this week: Chestnut Hill, Media, and St. David's. Bring your gold, silver, coins, diamonds, and watches, even broken pieces, and get cash on the spot. The prices of gold and silver are at an all-time high, so there's never been a better time to sell. No appointments, no fees, no pressure. Just friendly, professional buyers with over 35 years in the business. Go to the Estates Roadshow, now through Friday at the Chestnut Hill Hotel, in Media at the Hampton Inn, and St. David's at the Radnor Hotel. Get some cash in your hands today to help pay those holiday bills at the Estates Roadshow. For more info, visit estatesroadshow.com.
Nick Hale here. Now is the time to save at Piazza Hyundai of Pottstown in Westchester. Get 0% APR financing for up to 60 months on remaining new 2025 Hyundai Tucson and Santa Fe models. That's 0% financing on some of Hyundai's most popular SUVs, including fuel-saving hybrids, but hurry, 0% is only available on select remaining inventory while supplies last. Visit Piazza Hyundai of Pottstown off Route 422 or Piazza Hyundai of Westchester on Route 202. Shop online at piazzahyundai.com. Tell them Nick sent you.
Jim Cipriotti at Retire Ready Financial Group doesn't need Google to know you're worried about retirement. Between inflation, rising taxes, and the uncertainty about Social Security, he understands. That's why he offers a complimentary retirement second opinion. It's a no-obligation meeting for you to talk about your concerns about retirement. You want to know if you're going to be okay? Let's find out. 610-894-7415 or go online, retirereadyfg.com.
Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, NPN number 2083768.
When it rains in Philly, your roof better be ready. I'm Merrill Reese. Don't wait until winter blitzes your home. Call the team at Impriano Roofing and Siding, protecting local homes for over 50 years. From roofing to siding to energy-efficient windows, they do it right. No gimmicks, no pressure, just honest work and great savings. Before the next storm hits, visit Impriano.com or call 610-644-4444. The best homes have an Impriano roof. Impriano Roofing and Siding, your home's first line of defense.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Let's ring in the new year by finally checking off something that actually matters. Your old videotapes and photos are fading more every year. VCRs are disappearing, and the clock is ticking to save your family's most important memories. Hi, I'm Adam Baselogger.
And I'm Nick Mako. We started Legacy Box to help you preserve your memories by converting all your videotapes, photos, and film reels into digital files. And this year, it's easier than ever.
Introducing our biggest kit yet, able to hold up to 80 videotapes or film reels or 2,000 photos. It's perfect for big collections. You can even send in old DVDs, memory cards, flip phones, or early generation iPhones.
Legacy Box is truly the easiest New Year's resolution you'll ever keep. Just fill your box and send it in. As the world's largest digitizer of home movies and photos, all work is done in the U.S., and we're trusted by over 1 million families.
Start the new year right by rescuing the moments you haven't watched in years. Go to legacybox.com/radio for an incredible 55% off. That's legacybox.com/radio for 55% off.
Well, here we are again, and this is looking like a pretty lopsided matchup, Jim.
That's right, Ron. I mean, in one corner, we've got a 175-pound guy, and in the other, a 6,000-ton heavyweight train.
Jim, this guy has no idea what he's getting himself into.
Ron, the size difference alone is staggering.
Oh, unbelievable, Jim. And this guy is acting like he doesn't have a care in the world.
What is this guy thinking, Ron?
Well, this is one of those rare moments where I actually find myself at a loss for words.
I can hardly bear to watch.
It's no contest. Every day, people tempt fate and die trespassing on railroad tracks. Railroad tracks are more dangerous than you think. See tracks, think train. For more safety tips and information, visit ctracksthinktrain.org.
Oh, the book lover's heart. It's too healthy for words.
And the nature lover's heart, it flies high with the birds.
See the art lover's heart, throbbing vibrant with color.
And the food lover's heart, it's as sweet as a cruller.
Hear the music lover's heart, how it's always in tune.
And the night lover's heart shines as bright as the moon.
But the heart of someone with pulmonary hypertension, PH for short, labors. PH puts unbearable stress on the heart, which can cause death from heart failure. And it's often misdiagnosed as asthma. But with early, accurate diagnosis, new treatments are helping people with PH live longer and better. The Pulmonary Hypertension Association gives hope to PH patients and caregivers. We want people to have
a heart that is strong for a life rich and long.
We're putting our heart into finding a cure. Learn more at phassociation.org. That's phassociation.org.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I want to be a glass countertop in a new home.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's best birthday present.
When I grow up, I want to be a football stadium.
When I grow up, I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day.
When I grow up, I want to be a fancy backsplash.
I want to be a bike that races around the country. When I grow up, I want to be a bench on a forest trail. I want to be a rocking chair on a sunny porch. I want to be a skyscraper. I want to be
When I grow up, I don't want to be a piece of garbage. And if you recycle me, I won't be.
Give your garbage another life. Recycle. Learn how at iwanttoberecycled.org. A public service advertisement brought to you by Keep America Beautiful and the Ad Council.
If the cold weather has you thinking it's finally time to replace those old drafty windows and doors, then there is no better time than now to make your home more energy efficient while taking advantage of Guida's big winter sales event. My good friends at Guida Door and Window are extending their big winter sale through the month of January by offering 40% off every door and window you buy. That's right. Get 40% off each expertly installed energy efficient replacement window, which also includes free high-performance low-E glass. And if you're in need of a new door, you get 40% off any door, including insulated entry doors, sliding patio doors, garage doors, and storm doors. Plus, you can start your project with no money down and pay it off interest-free for up to 12 months. This offer is for a limited time only, so you have to act quickly. If your home needs new windows and doors, then call the experts at Guida today to schedule a free in-home estimate at 877-GO-GUIDA or visit them at GoGuida.com. That's GoGuida.com.
Now you can listen to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
And we're back here, wrapping up hour one. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT afternoon show. Shawn Farash with you till 6 o'clock Eastern time on the eve of this big winter storm. It's a huge winter storm. You could make a snowman in Philadelphia bigger than Rosie O'Donnell, believe it or not. It's going to be big and beautiful. A lot of ice headed our way here in Tennessee. As we wrap up this segment talking about the mainstream media and their angle, they're never going to give this administration credit for its accomplishments. They just won't. The success that this administration has had on the border alone. And remember the narrative going into the 2024 election about the border? Remember the narrative? Republicans are blocking a bipartisan border bill. They say they want to secure the border, but they're blocking a bipartisan border bill, and they're preventing us from acting on the border. Oh, we're preventing you from acting on the border? Really? Republicans are preventing? We're preventing the Biden Biden auto pen administration from doing anything on the border? Really? It's funny because was there a bipartisan border bill passed after Donald Trump took office? Was there? Not that I recall. I don't recall a bipartisan border bill being passed under the Trump administration. No, Donald Trump quite literally waved a magic wand and just prioritized border security through DHS, through ICE, through CBP, and wouldn't you know it, 0 illegal aliens are being released into the United States. Zero. That they're still trying to come. Some of them are still trying to come, but by the way, the encounters down on that border are down upwards of 90%. Where you were getting tens of thousands, in some months, hundreds of thousands of encounters on the southern border are down to 4 digits. And even less than that in some cases. And those who are being apprehended trying to get into the country are not being released. Here's a court date. We'll see you when we see you. Right? Nope. That's not the way they're doing this. Right? They're not releasing them into the country. That's a major accomplishment. Major accomplishment. As a result, I believe a near direct result. It's not a total, right? It's not the only factor that influences this, but the murder rate under the Trump administration in its first year has hit potentially the lowest rate since 1900. 1900. That's 126 years ago, if my math is correct. I think it is. I hope so. Drug overdoses plummeting. We're going to talk about that more in depth next segment as we kick off hour 2. We're kicking off hour 2 right now because we had a little bit of a, you look at Russia, you look at China. They want to shut us down, and they tried to do that, but we have very talented people. Matt and Justin, they're very talented. They're very smart. They're very tough. They said, we're not going to let it happen, and they didn't let it happen. And they got everything up and running and working like nobody's ever seen before. They did a tremendous job, a fantastic job. Thought they were going to take us down. No, we're going to talk about this more in the next segment, but drug overdoses plummeting under this administration as well. Whether it was because of Operation Southern Spear, whether it was because of the border, or whether it was because law enforcement is more aggressively enforcing existing law. Murder rates down. Drug overdoses down. You saw how D.C. was cleaned up. Look, is Washington, D.C. still a desirable area? Do I want to go there tomorrow? Not really. Not really. But is it better off after Donald Trump surged National Guard troops in there? Have some of these cities that have seen surges of federal troops become safer? I mean, yeah. And you're seeing it in the numbers. The media will never give credit to this administration for their accomplishments. They will, though, however, blame anything and everything that goes wrong. Markets have a bad day. As the Trump economy is crashing the markets. Markets have a good day. Ah, man, Biden really supercharged this economy and set it up for success. Come on. We all see what you're doing. Murders plummeting under Trump during his first year of his second term. Drug overdoses plummeting under Trump in his first year of his second term. These are accomplishments that mean something to people. If there's two things that I believe drive positive sentiment about an administration, you obviously have the economy, which you're going to see come tax season. People are going to have a very, very much nicer feeling about this administration than they did maybe a few months ago. As the tariff revenue starts to kick in, as the tax cuts start to kick in, as the wage growth starts to kick in, and safety, the economy and safety, financial safety and physical safety. You're going to see those are the two most important issues, and those are winning issues for the Republican Party and will be even bigger wins if we can be amplifiers, if we can be distributors and disseminators of that information. More on the murders and the drug overdose numbers plummeting under Donald Trump when we come back after a quick break. We will be right back with more after this. Shawn Farash, up until 6 o'clock on 1210 WPHT here on the afternoon show. Stay right there. We'll be back with a little more after this break.
Truck Month is happening now at Tri-County Toyota. Right now, lease the new 2026 Tundra all-wheel drive Crewmax SR5 for $479 a month. Or buy and get 2.99% financing for 72 months. Or $3,000 cash back. Or check out a new 2025 Tacoma four-wheel drive double cab SR5 and lease for $299 a month. Or get rates as low as 2.99% for 48 months. Visit us online at tricountytoyota.com to see more.
Have you been thinking about doing a Roth conversion, but the upfront taxes are holding you back? Welcome to Rothright. We can show you how to significantly reduce taxes on a conversion, potentially saving hundreds of thousands, even millions in taxes over your lifetime. A Roth conversion will give you tax-free income, eliminate required minimum distributions, and leave a tax-free estate for your heirs. Call 855-415-ROTH. That's 855-415-ROTH. Or visit Rothright.com. Accredited investors only. Rothright is not a financial advisory firm. Consult with a tax professional before making any financial decision.
So last year I had the bright idea to dig up part of my backyard to put in a new patio. Little did I know that underground electrical for most of my neighborhood ran through my backyard. One wrong hit of the shovel and bam, lights went out, my hair turned white, and now I can wirelessly charge my smartphone. You know, they say hindsight is 20/20, but 2/20? That's something completely different. Trust me. Call 811 before you dig. Know what's below and help us hit 50 and 5. 50% less damage to buried utilities in 5 years. For info, visit pa1call.org.
It's time to get focused on improving the lives of our beloved pets by feeding them the most nutritious pet food on the planet. With 2 decades of experience, the Dogs and Cats Rules stores can guide you in the right direction to meet your pet's needs. Fads come and go, but there's no substitute for premium meat inclusive food for your pets. If you changed your pet's food lately and they're starting to look like a shaggy dog, smelly ears and biting their feet all the time, you need to come into one of our 7 very convenient locations or visit dogsandcatsrule.pet.
Love. You're still grooving, still connecting, still loving, still turning up, still thriving. You still got it, but your immune system, it weakens as you age. That's where vaccines come in. They help train and strengthen your immune response to fight off respiratory illnesses like flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, or COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Book in minutes at vaxassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
WOGL HD3 Philadelphia from the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Always live on the free Odyssey app. Free speech lives here. The WPHT Afternoon Show.
Welcome back to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, the afternoon show. Shawn Farash here until 6 p.m. Eastern. Rocking and rolling on the best damn radio station in the nation. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on this 23rd day of January. Big snowstorm eve, I guess you could call it. What are they referring to this one as? They never used to name winter storms. Now all of a sudden they're naming it. This was this winter storm Milton. What is this? Winter storm Fern, winter storm. I don't know which one this one is. Fern? Okay. Winter storm Fern. Fern. Isn't that a plant? I don't like that. You know what? Don't name the winter storms. This is silly. This is very silly. Apparently, Zoran Mamdani tried to play meteorologist. He warned of anywhere between 3 and 16 inches of snow. Well, he'd fit right in with some of the other TV meteorologists. By the way, I see a lot of people mocking, weather's the only job you get paid to be wrong. It is very hard to predict the weather, guys. Okay? It's hard. It's very hard. It's very hard. But what I could tell you about the weather, we have a beautiful development about the weather. You realize there were no hurricanes in the Gulf of America this year because I got a wonderful deal done with somebody you may have heard of, Mother Nature. And she's a wonderful person. I get along well with her. And she was going to send a bunch of hurricanes in. I said to her, you're not going to do that. We're going to make sure you don't do that. If you do that, we're going to hit you with tariffs, the likes of which you've never seen before. She said, sir. She said to me, sir, we don't want to pay those tariffs. We're not going to hit you with the hurricanes. Trump can predict the weather. I used to do a Trump the Weatherman bit all the time, every winter on Long Island, because we would usually have some eventful snow and things like that. A little difficult here in Tennessee, but Trump the Weatherman was always fun. We had Bernie the Weatherman too. We will take all the areas of the snow where you did not get the right amount of snowfall, and we will redistribute the snow from here to there. Well, Bernie the Weatherman's cool too. A little socialism. Everybody gets snow, like Oprah. All right. Murders and drug overdoses plummeting in Donald Trump's first year of his second term. Financial safety and physical safety are wonderful ways, tremendous ways for independents to get on board and buy into the vision that Donald Trump, the MAGA movement, and Republicans have for this country in the future. I mean, it's just, again, let's make it very simple. Sometimes we get a little bit too in the weeds and we get like technical. It's like when I'm talking to people about weather, they're like, what do you think about this storm? And I start going in like, well, the high pressure that's coming over a Pacific ridge in Canada is going to be stronger than model. It may suppress the storm further to the south, people are like, yo, whoa, like I'm 5, bro. Oh, okay. Lots of snow, maybe a little bit of ice if you're north of the Mason-Dixon line. That's easier to understand, right? Make it simple. One of the reasons why we were able to make, or why we were able to have so much success on Long Island with our wild grassroots uprising known as the loud majority is because we made politics simple and made it fun. We had tailgate parties in parking lots of train stations. And then, we would bring people over to these, these rallies that we would have and network with each other. And we would get these folks out. We would go door knock and come back and then, cook out in a public park and say, here we go. Let's go knock on doors. You complete your walk sheets, come back, bring some food, throw it on the grill. We'll have a party. Make it simple. Make it fun. Make it simple. Murders in the United States plummeted during the first year of Donald Trump's second term. A study conducted by the Council on Criminal Justice shows that murders in the United States plummeted during 2025. According to the study, the rate of reported homicides was 21% lower in 2025 than in 2024 in the 35 study cities providing data for the crime. In raw numbers, this means approximately 922 fewer homicides in 2025 versus 2024. The CCJ believes that the FBI data, which will be released later this year, may show 2025 had the lowest homicide rate ever recorded in law enforcement or public health data going back to 1900. Now, flip the script on this. Now, let's say it was the highest homicide rate ever recorded since 1900. The media would already be, oh my gosh, Donald Trump has inflamed tension so much in this country that people want to kill each other. That's what they'd be doing, right? Like that's the line of attack that they'd be running with. He's made this country such a terrible place. Everyone wants to kill each other, take each other's stuff. That's where they'd be going with it. It's a remarkable achievement. This means that your communities are safer. Safer. The researchers behind the study also looked at violent crime and found that violent crime overall was at or below levels in 2019. That is air quotes, pandemic. Come on, was it really a pandemic? I mean, you could say, oh, there was a virus. There was where. By the way, has anyone ever figured out this one? They give like rewards for missing people, right? If you could lead the FBI or local law enforcement to the arrest of John Doe, who's been missing for months, you get $1 million. I would like, I don't have the money to put it up, but we'll find somebody, right? To put up a large sum of money, whoever could figure out what happened to the flu when COVID was around. It just disappeared. There was no flu. What happened? Did COVID just go, hey, flu, take a couple years off. I got it. What happened? Anyone else find that kind of strange? I find that just a little strange. Were the viruses like coordinating with each other? We know the virus was coordinating with Andrew Cuomo. When I lived in New York, it was very interesting. He used to have the curfews. He would do this. You cannot go out after 11 o'clock p.m. in New York. Then like one week, he was like, it's midnight now. What'd you do? Would you sit down with the virus and come to terms on a new deal? Yeah, hey, COVID, can you maybe not come out till midnight? We greatly appreciate that. Yeah, we could do that for you, Governor. What's in it for me, though? I will throw you a couple old people. Come on, here. Okay, here's a nursing home. Go ahead. Here you go. Yeah, it's so stupid. These rules were so stupid. And I remember, actually, was really funny. It was in, I want to say May, maybe June of 2020. I drove off of Long Island. It was June. It was middle of June. And I went to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. The battlefield out there. There were so many people on that battlefield. So many people. And they weren't wearing masks. I was like, this is just phenomenal. This is phenomenal. But we get back to this because we kind of did the weave here. Get back to the murder rate, right? Murder rate is down. Good thing or a bad thing? Objectively. Good thing or a bad thing? Regardless of who you think is responsible, is it a good thing or a bad thing that the murder rate may have hit the lowest rate since 1900 in this country? I would say, objectively speaking, sane people would say that this is a good thing. The CCJ, who conducted this study, that's the Council on Criminal Justice, suggests that the lower numbers of murder and violent crime are likely the result of a complex tangle of broad social and technological changes and direct policy interventions. Trump upped the enforcement of laws during his first term. Additionally, there are currently 29 constitutional carry states in the union. Ironically, as constitutional carry picked up steam and began being adopted in state after state, the left warns of things like blood in the streets and a return to the wild, wild west. For example, in South Carolina, they became the 29th constitutional carry state on March 6, 2024, and the following year, homicides and violent crime fell precipitously. Wait a second. But hold on, I was told that more guns equal more crimes and more gun deaths. So wait, they lied again? Shawn, they didn't lie. They were just wrong. Okay, so they were wrong again? They're wrong a lot. Anybody still give these people an ounce of credibility? Because I really don't. You've been wrong. Again, everyone loves to take a sugar honey iced tea on the local meteorologist if they say it's going to be 80 and sunny and it winds up 75 and cloudy. Well, I wanted to go to the beach today. Well, it's not the weather guy's fault that you couldn't go to the beach because it was cloudy, okay? But maybe we should apply those standards to something a little more meaningful than the weather and your beach plans. Maybe we should apply that standard to, I don't know, politicians who say, if you let us raise your taxes, your health care is going to be free under the Affordable Care Act. And then you go through, COVID? And they said, we're going to increase the subsidies just for COVID. It's a temporary program just for COVID. And then COVID's over. And you're like, no, we have to make these subsidies permanent. You know what that sounds like? It's like this. When you subsidize and you say it's a temporary subsidy, it's like they're going to give you a little bit of assistance to get through a hard time. You'll get back on your feet and then we'll go back to normal, right? Picture, we just talked about the flu and these colds and these things. You get a cold. The cold is nasty. I don't like getting a cold. I hated colds. Colds are disgusting. People are like, oh, if you have a cold, you're not sick. You're sick. You're sick. And you go out to the pharmacy, CVS, Rite Aid, Walgreens, whatever it is. Wawa. We love Wawa. We're getting 3 Wawas in Murfreesboro soon, which is really nice. And you pick up a thing of Dayquil, right? Cold medicine. To get you through the cold, right? The sickness that you've got. And you take the Dayquil, and then after about 3 or 4 days, you start to feel better. I mean, what do you do? Do you continue to take the Dayquil when you don't have a cold? Do you continue to drink cough medicine when you're not coughing? Right? No, you take it as a means of supplemental assistance to get you through the worst parts of your virus, of your illness, and then you stop taking it because you no longer need that assistance because the cold is over, right? The COVID-era subsidies were COVID-era subsidies. Yes, they're still COVID. I get it. But it's not this big, crazy thing where we're shutting businesses down and stay home, save lives and all this other crap. It's not what's going on, right? So, let's stop forcing Dayquil down our throats when we're not sick. And then what they're admitting is saying, well, the original Affordable Care Act subsidies aren't enough. Oh, okay, so you mean this whole single-payer system of yours, Obamacare, failed? Well, no, it didn't fail. It just needs more money. Really? It was called the Affordable Care Act when you passed it. How come it's not affordable? Can we maybe start holding our politicians to the standards that you hold your TV meteorologists to? Right? Where you'll start demanding the firing of somebody you see on, your local Fox affiliate saying you were going to get 8 inches of snow and you only got 3. He gets paid to be wrong. I get it. It's aggravating. I get it. But why don't we use that same standard, that same rubric, those same criteria to grade things that actually matter? Right? Your politicians and what they're doing and how they're managing your money. They have these policy hypothesis that will come out that they'll say, well, if we tax the top 1%, or we raise your taxes a little bit, we will be able to pay for a lot more things. And then you find out that your money's being siphoned away anyway by Somali fraudsters and pirates sent overseas into the hands of terrorists. We don't hold our politicians accountable, but hey, there will be torches and pitchforks if the weather guy gets your beach forecast wrong. And I just, something's a little backwards about that. Murders way down in Donald Trump's first year of his second term. Drug overdoses plummet. Not just overdoses, drug overdose deaths plummet as the Trump administration cracked down on the southern border. U.S. drug overdose deaths fell by 20.6% over the course of 1 year, according to the latest data from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Louisiana, Florida, Virginia, New York, Vermont, Wyoming, and the District of Columbia saw more than 30% decreases in drug overdose deaths. The data examined United States deaths from August 2024 to August 2025 as the Biden administration increased border enforcement near the end of its term amid heavy criticism before Trump took office last year, after which the decline in drug overdose deaths accelerated. The fall began at the end of the Biden administration, but the question is, was it in anticipation of a tough on crime president coming in? Joseph Giallacone, a retired NYPD sergeant and adjunct criminal justice professor at Penn State Lehigh Valley, told Fox News, securing the borders has a lot to do with the drop. Less chance for drug dealers and their mules to bring drugs into the country. When we were blowing up drug boats in the Caribbean, people are like, how does that save American lives? Well, because if the drugs can't come into the country, then people can't overdose on the drugs that are currently floating in the Caribbean. That's how. Are you ever going to stop it completely? No, you're not. You're not going to stop it completely. Perfection is a thing that doesn't exist. That's why I'm saying the southern border is not perfect. The southern border is close to perfect. 0 illegals are being released into the country. That does not mean 0 are sneaking in undetected. I'm sure there is a few. Okay? And that does not mean people aren't coming in. They're just being apprehended and they're not being released into the country. Which is why in Trump's first year, you saw a net decrease in migration in the United States of America. Why you saw more people leave the country than came into the country. It's a good thing. We're full. We're at capacity. So again, let's bring this back out to 30,000 feet. Let's bring this back out of the weeds. Let's not get so technical and not get so detail-oriented here, and just take the overall sentiments here. Murders down in Trump's first year of his second term. Way down. Drug overdose deaths down over 20% in Donald Trump's first year of his second term. Are these good things or bad things? These are good things. If the murder rate is down, there is less of a chance that you, whoever you are, listening to this anywhere, will be murdered in your community. Less of a chance. If the rate is lower, there's a better chance of you surviving every single day. Drug overdose death. Oh, I'm not a drug addict. That's great. But, maybe your neighbor is. Maybe your cousin is. Maybe you're, who knows? Maybe you got a kid in college and he wants to do something funny on a Saturday night. He's just, whatever. He's going to smoke a little weed at school. Not endorsing the practice, by the way. But, living in reality, some of these things happen. Well, if there are less drugs and less dangerous drugs that could be, available in this country to lace that weed that the kid may or may not want to smoke and try, there's a better chance of him surviving too, or her surviving too. These are good things. These are better for our country's safety. This is better for law and order. Independents will hear murders are down, drug overdoses are down because Donald Trump has taken a tough on crime approach and has shut down the southern border and made it very difficult for people to bring drugs into the country. These are great things. And you have the other side of the aisle. You have the Democrat Party arguing against the policies that are brought down murders and drug overdoses. How is this a winning message? The answer is it's not. It may be a winning message on the left, and it may energize left-wing voters to say, we're going to stand up to fascism and Donald Trump, and he's a terrible guy, and this, that, and the other. But to the all-important swing voters in the middle, when you have a party that was just rejected in the 2024 election, right? You have a party that was trying to trans everybody in men and women's sports and wide open borders and, soft on crime, pro-crime. They're pro-crime now. Cashless bail, right? We're not, you have Keith Ellison saying, Don Lemon and all these people, they didn't violate the FACE Act, cherry picking parts of the law, omitting other parts of the law to cover the rear ends of their friends and political allies. You have one side of the aisle that is essentially covering up crime and looking the other way on crime and encouraging crime. These attacks on ICE officers it's all criminal behavior. They're encouraging that. And then you have another side, the other side of the aisle, the Republican Party saying, no, we want to just uphold the rule of law. We're going to enforce the law to the letter of the law, how it's been written, how it's been passed. We're going to make your community safer. We've brought the murder rate down, brought drug overdoses down. We are deporting those nasty people, those violent criminals that you saw on DHS.gov/wow. DHS.gov/wow. We're making your community safer. Isn't that what you want? A lot of those independents are going to go, all right, we'll give you another chance. But they have to know. They have to be informed. Information is power. Knowledge is power. You are powerful. You can give these people the right information. The truth is on our side. It is not just your duty to participate in the elections and vote. It is also your duty to inform as many people as possible about these issues, these stats, these stories that the mainstream media, they're just going to kick to the curb and avoid. We got more on ICE coming up in just a little bit. This is Shawn Farash with you until the 6 p.m. Eastern time here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, 855-839-1210. If you want to join in, I'd love to hear from you, especially if you are on the left and you think it's a bad thing that the murder rate's down or it's a bad thing that drug overdoses are down. Love to hear from you. Matter of fact, you go to the front of the line, 855-839-1210. Jump in if you want. Love to hear from you, and we'll be back with more here on the afternoon show on 1210 WPHT right after this.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Dawn Stensland here. Oh, the excitement is building. Portugal and Spain this spring. You know, I wouldn't go anywhere across the pond unless Conservative Tours was running the show for you. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. And after the last 2 adventures in Europe with you, I wouldn't recommend you to anybody else. Fine dining with great wines, seaside villages that take your breath away. They are so stunning to behold. 5738, yes, that includes your nonstop flight from Philadelphia to Lisbon. The picturesque Douro River Valley, 4-star hotel properties, and dining events to rival the best in Europe for 10 days. Portugal is Europe's best-kept secret. I want to take you there before the secret's out. private Portuguese tour escort? Step over the border into Galicia in Old World Spain. Fly home from Porto. 888-733-9494. ConservativeTours.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Build your team. Build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. All your roles, fill them sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Wesley Financial.
Office workers using Slack will now have extra AI capabilities at their fingertips. Salesforce-owned Slack released an AI-powered version of the Slack bot AI agent, with the company saying that it will bring together a person's conversations in Slack, as well as other files and channels, to help find information and speed up workflows by understanding how teams speak to each other. Slackbot also has access to data in Salesforce. I'm Jason Brooks.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband Ryan died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ETHOS.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Trust and Will.
My dad and I were always close, but some things we just didn't talk about, like his will. After he was gone, we found out he didn't have one, and it created a lot of stress during a time of grief.
Creating a will can be hard to think about, but avoiding it can lead to greater difficulty for the people you love. That's why Trust and Will makes estate planning simple. Create a will online in as little as 30 minutes.
Now, I have a will in place to make sure my loved ones are protected. With Trust and Will, it was easy and affordable, and I got peace of mind knowing my wishes are clear.
Trust and Will.
Get 20% off when you visit trustandwill.com/plan. That's trustandwill.com/plan to get 20% off. trustandwill.com/PLAN.
Searching for a new path to wellness? Dr. Molly Fantasia explains how medical hydration therapy can help you reclaim your energy. Listen to Health Watch, Sunday mornings at 8 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Auto Group studios. Experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
We are back here. It is 4:33 on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT in the afternoon show. Don't fear the Reaper. More cowbell. Remember that that bit on SNL? Was that with Christopher Walken and Will Ferrell? Hey, I got a fever. And I want, what is that? What is the line? I got a fever, and but I need you to prescribe me more cowbell. It's a great bit. You never heard the more cowbell bit? My wife's in there with me now. Brennan Farash is here.
Hello. No, I haven't heard that.
You never seen the more cowbell thing? Does that meme?
I don't think so.
Will Ferrell's banging the cowbell. Christopher Walken.
I'm not a huge fan of Will Ferrell.
No, it was SNL. It was back when SNL was actually funny. Don't fear the Reaper. The Blue Oyster Cult. We love the Blue Oyster Cult. Don't fear the Reaper. Tremendous job. They do a tremendous job. I have to say that. And I'm the greatest cowbell player in the history of the world. I hit the cowbell like nobody's ever hit that cowbell before. Nobody's ever hit that cowbell as well as we hit the cowbell. All right, back on a little bit more from ICE. I am obsessed with the dhs.gov/wow. It's one of my favorite. The fact that they used worst of the worst and abbreviated it with wow is awesome too, because you're going to show it to people and they're going to be like, wow, look at these really nasty people, bad hombres. They also listed a bunch of people who they arrested in their latest sweep, their latest nationwide sweep of illegal aliens. Here's a couple of names. Edgardo de Jesus Pacheco Flores.
Stop it right now.
Of Venezuela. Previously as a four-bagger, previously convicted of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon in Bell County, Texas, as well as Enrique Vergara Marquez of Mexico, was previously convicted of felony burglary and aggravated assault with a weapon in Glenville, West Virginia. Felipe Avila Jimenez and Julio Noyola Campos. I feel like this is that song by Lady Gaga. Don't call my name Alejandro. Don't call my name Fernando. Right? I mean, listen. That's what Fernando Mendoza is going to be singing when the Raiders draft him. Don't call my name. Don't call my name. Same thing if he was going to play for the Jets. That's why Dante Moore stayed in school. He said, I'm not getting involved in that mess. What Dante Moore doesn't know is the Jets are going to pick number 1 next year. Felipe Avila Jimenez and Julio Noyola Campos, both illegal aliens from Mexico, were arrested by ICE. Avila Jimenez was previously convicted of importation of methamphetamine in Carlsbad, California, while Noyola Campos was previously convicted of trafficking drugs in Wake County, North Carolina. Again, the Democrat Party wants these people to remain in your communities. And those are 4 names. Well, actually, it was more like 8 names. One guy had 4 names himself, but those were 4 people. It's enough names to fill a football stadium.
That's a lot.
But I'll tell you, those are 4 people who, you don't want lurking in your neighborhoods, right? The dhs.gov/wow, which is my favorite website in the world right now, you can literally look your city up. You can look up your city and see if anybody is on that quote unquote worst of the worst database. But ICE is so important. And this is why I believe, again, because of those tools, because of stories like this on Breitbart, okay, and these tools that we have, it's very important for people to understand the work that ICE is doing and what the media is lying about. Back to this story about this 5-year-old kid that was abandoned by his father. This is not me trying to put an angle or a spin on it, by the way. That's what happened. Daddy was arrested. Daddy fled on foot. Daddy left the little boy hanging out, on the street and left the kid to fend for himself. I'm going to roll with cut 5 here. The assistant director of ICE says, talking about what his men did with that little 5-year-old kid after his father just kind of dumped him and ran. Let's play cut 5.
This week, ICRO conducted targeted enforcement operation to arrest Adrian Alexander Conejo Arias, an illegal alien who was released back into the interior of the United States by the previous administration. When officers approached Conejo Arias, he and his child were in a vehicle. Arias fled from law enforcement on foot, abandoning his child in the middle of winter in a vehicle. One of our officers stayed behind with that child while other officers apprehended his father. After conducting the arrest, my officers stayed with the child. They cared for him, took him to get something to eat from a drive-through restaurant, and spent hours ensuring he was taken care of. Again, my officers did that, not his father. My officers did everything they could to reunite him with his family. Tragically, when we approached the door of his residence, the people inside refused to take him in and open the door. Let me say it again. They saw the young boy and they refused to open the door and take him back. This is the human side of the job that my officers do. They are family men and women. They have children of their own. They sacrifice everything for their families. I know for a fact that they were heartbroken to see the child's own family leave him behind.
Unbelievable.
Fortunately, Conejo Arias eventually requested that his child stay with him. We do everything in our power not to separate families. So they took him back together to Minneapolis, here to the city, to the ICE facility for processing, and now they are being well cared for at a family residential center, pending their immigration proceedings.
So there was the assistant director of ICE, or an assistant director of ICE, talking about exactly what happened when that 5-year-old was, quote unquote, as the mainstream media, as AOC said, detained and kidnapped. You hear the way he burned him? He burned that father. So we took him to a drive-through restaurant. We got him some food. He said, and then again, my agents did that, not his dad. Now you're going to hear, oh, who are they to talk about how he's parenting their child? He left the kid to fend for himself on a street. Well, we're just supposed to go, well, okay. Fend for yourself, kid. Are you serious? Yeah, so they took him to a drive-through restaurant. They took him to a drive-through. I've never heard of anybody being detained that has gone to McDonald's or Wendy's. I don't know. Hopefully he went somewhere good. Like Bojangles is good, but I don't think they have Bojangles where the heck he was. Here's AOC. AOC saying he was kidnapped. Kidnapped to where? Burger King? He went to a drive-through. He was kidnapped. Play cut 6.
But you obviously believe ICE should be abolished, but there are many in your party who are not going that far. Mm-hmm. Is that a problem for you?
I think any step in the direction of reining in and cutting the funding of an agency that is attacking U.S. citizens, that are kidnapping 5-year-olds, that are using them as bait to open doors, and that are privately circulating that they can violate everyday Americans' constitutional rights by busting into their doors, they deserve to be defunded. I'll take any step in that direction.
Are you
kidnapping 5-year-olds? Kidnapping 5-year-olds. This was in Minnesota. I don't know why I thought this was in Colorado. For some reason, I thought that was in Colorado. It was in Minnesota. Okay, so it's colder there. Kidnapping 5-year-olds is what she said. They took him to get McNuggets. He was left to fend for himself by his father. Look, I used to think, and I still think, that AOC is a stupid person. I think so, and I think she still is a stupid person, but I think she's gotten a little smarter, or at least a little more savvy about how to message. In her first days as a congresswoman, she said some dumb things about how, oh, yeah, I was in the Girl Scouts, and they taught us how to cook, and they taught us how to change a tire, and they taught us, she said these word for word, how to recreate the NASA Challenger mission. And I was like, that space shuttle exploded, and 7 astronauts died. I don't think they were teaching you how to recreate that one. Maybe she meant that they launched, hobby rockets into the air. I don't think they taught her how to do the NASA Challenger mission. Preschooler and 3 other students detained by ICE, school district leader said, claimed the Star Tribune newspaper in Minnesota. AOC claiming that the kid was kidnapped. He was left to fend for himself on the street. Agents approached the driver, Adrian Alexander Conejo Arias, fled on foot and abandoned his kid. What would you rather ICE do? Let the kid just, we don't want to go near you because I don't want AOC to say something stupid about me in front of a camera. So good luck, kid. Kid's 5. And he's an adorable little kid, too. He's wearing this little cute little blue hat. He doesn't want to deal with this. His dad's a deadbeat. This is just mind-blowing. Mind-blowing that you're getting comments from elected, not leaders. She couldn't lead herself out of a paper bag. But elected officials just lying about it. She's lying. The kid was not kidnapped. The kid was not detained. The kid was not arrested. The kid was not used as bait. Oh, so now all of a sudden involving children is a bad thing. Where's that criticism of Hamas, by the way? Who loves nothing more than to hide their ammunition inside of schools so that when those schools are destroyed, they go, Israel's killing children, you know. Well, why maybe you shouldn't hide missiles next to 6-year-olds. This is the type of stuff that just drives me crazy. I want to take my head and I want to just repeatedly smash it against a brick wall because I'm so tired of these people. It's not like that. It's not like they're criticizing, oh, maybe ICE should have tried another method to detain the father. Maybe they should. They're just outright lying about it to try and make a point, to try and spin up a narrative, to try and gin up resistance. And it's all bull crap. It's all nonsense. It's all garbage. And I'm just so tired of it. Our men and women in federal law enforcement, specifically ICE, deserve so much better than that. They're doing a difficult job. It's not easy, and they're getting crap. They're getting nothing from half of the political officials in this country. And the Republican Party's not doing enough to stand by them either. We'll wrap up hour 2 in just a moment here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, taking you all the way up to 6 o'clock Eastern time. Keep it locked right here. We will be right back to wrap up hour 2. Did I say hour 3 before? I'm sorry. We'll be right back to wrap up hour 2 here on the WPHT afternoon show right after this.
Listen up, football fans. You have Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Pennsylvania. TNC Supply. And app only.
This is the energy of the Acura RDX. The energy of performance and adventure. With super handling all-wheel drive. The Acura RDX. This is the energy of innovation. Acura. Precision crafted performance.
Visit Piazza Acura of Ardmore, Reading, or Westchester for a test drive today.
Hey, this is Larry Steinitz with Investor Schooling. I've been talking about myself for all these years. Now it's time for you to hear from one of our great clients.
Investor Schooling lives up to the promises. Larry's a great teacher, teaches about the whole new approach to thinking about money. I've taken to heart many of the things that he's taught me, and my financial life has improved.
Come to Investor Schooling, and you could be just like Charlie and change your financial life. Go to investorschooling.com. We will see you Thursday.
Harvest your financial freedom in 2026 with a growth savings account from First Harvest Credit Union. Earn up to 3% annual percentage yield with no withdrawal penalties, giving you flexible access to your funds. Explore other savings options, such as our competitive share and IRA certificate accounts, to cultivate even more growth. Visit firstharvestcu.com/growth savings or stop by your nearest branch to get started. Membership restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait, and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Bet365. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Pennsylvania. TNC Supply.
Hi, this is Dom Giordano. Are you tired of feeling worn out halfway through your workout or exhausted before the day even begins? If staying active matters to you, fuel your body with Rescue Orosine. Most people don't realize your body runs on ATP, the natural energy that powers every muscle, every heartbeat, every step. But as we age, ATP production slows down, taking stamina and endurance with it. That's where Rescue Orosine comes in. This cutting-edge formula with research-backed ingredients supports ATP production at the cellular level. You can keep moving, keep your heart pumping, and keep doing what you love every day without jitters or crashes. Just use the code MyEnergy to buy one, get one free today at res-q.com or call a Rescue Product Consultant 800-26-ALIVE. Don't miss out. Again, that's 800-262-5483 or online at res-q.com. Get your second bottle of Rescue Orosine for free. Use that code MyEnergy at checkout.
For 125 years, the Philadelphia Orchestra's musicians have been the magic makers behind our legendary sound. Join us for these upcoming concerts.
There's spectacular entertainment for all ages, including the perfect introduction to classical music for a child in your life. Saturday morning family concerts are lively fun for kids. See Peter and the Wolf, February 7th at 11:30 a.m. The music literally comes alive as characters in this charming tale are acted out. Join the kids into an unforgettable music adventure.
Get your tickets at philork.org.
Free speech lives here with Kale & Company weekday mornings on Odyssey's #1 talk station, 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back here to the afternoon show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT as we wrap up the second hour, taking you all the way to 6 o'clock Eastern time on the eve of this big winter storm. I'm grabbing some updates through every break. I'm just pouring through model data, geeking out as I normally do with this weather. You know, when I lived on Long Island, I used to stay up really late and just wait for each model run and do all this stuff. It was a lot of fun. I would track the storms with my cat. I'd put the computer connected to the TV and she would be staring at it like, what the heck is, because she really didn't care. She was just kind of there living through it, Zoe. But this could be a big one, especially out there for the Northeast. You know, there's possibility that things may be a little colder than forecasted, you know, because of the strength of the Arctic high. Again, we're getting into the technical nitty gritty here, and that might be stuff that doesn't necessarily make sense to everybody. But bottom line, it's going to be cold during the storm, even colder afterwards. Please stay safe, stay warm, and most importantly, stay dry. You get wet in this type of cold, it's going to be a problem. So stay dry and stay warm. We're going to wrap up the conversation on ICE, or at least the conversation that we were, having regarding the job that they're actually doing versus what the media is portraying them to be doing. And I want to pose this question to you, right? Because I'm one person, and I'd like to think, and I spend a lot of time on social media, and I'd like to think that I have a decent pulse of what the American people are thinking about ICE and mass deportations, but I don't know. And this is why I like to crowdsource these things. You know, sometimes when I come up with some of my Trump bits, I will go on a social media app or an X space or a live stream and say, just throw me some ideas and I'll improv and something cool will happen and we'll come up with something. I'll crowdsource it. What do you think? How do we better reach independence? How do we do it? Give me your ideas at 855-839-1210. How do we reach independence? Do we go door to door? Do we hold local events? Do we do more streams and shows and more interactive, call segments and things like that on shows like this? How do we reach independents and bring them this information that can be found at dhs.gov/wow? What are the top issues? This is an important one. What are the top issues of everyday people? You know, a person that you bump into at the deli counter in the supermarket versus people like me and some of you out there, political hardcore participants, right? The hardcore who's in it every day, 7 days a week, 24/7. This is your thing. You live and breathe politics. I eat, sleep, and breathe politics. I eat, sleep, and breathe news. It's my job, right? I may feel a certain way about issues, and there may be other ones, other people who say, well, that's not my most important thing. I think a lot of people will say top issues of everyday average Joe Americans is the economy, right? How much money are we making? Our wages, are wages outpacing inflation? Are we taking home more money out of every paycheck? Are our taxes lower? Are things more affordable? Services and groceries and products and all that. And the political hardcore, I know, wants to see some accountability. They want to see arrests. They want to see transparency on things like the Epstein files. And I don't think that those things are insignificant either. But what do you think, right, is the best way to reach independence? What do you think are the most important issues to the average Joes that are out there that we're going to need to get out to the polls during the 2026 midterms? What is the best way to reach those folks? What's the best way to get through to those folks? What's the best way to have a conversation with those folks? Is it through social media? Is it through broadcast media like radio? Is it through podcasts? Is it through short reels? What do we think? Let's brainstorm some ideas together and put together a plan here. In the next hour, we're going to get into some of the fallout from that church raid in St. Paul, Minnesota. 3 arrested so far. Don Lemon, so far, safe for now. But I wouldn't be sitting pretty if I was him. Although, knowing Don Lemon's lifestyle, sitting pretty is an art form. And are the Clintons? How about the Clintons? Are they going to be held in contempt of Congress? Again, another call question. Do you think Republicans should follow through and hold Bill and Hillary Clinton in contempt to the point where they put them in jail like Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro? I think yes. You think that's a good idea? You think that's a bad idea? 855-839-1210. 855-839-1210. Get involved. So we have the church raid fallout coming up in hour 3. We'll kick off with that. We'll talk a little bit of Clintons, wherever you want to go to with the conversation, any ideas on how to reach independence. It's all coming up here in that third and final hour of this afternoon show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. I'm very excited to hear from you. If you do want to chime in, we'll also have a little bit of an update on the weather and all of that and more as we navigate through hour 3 here on the afternoon show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We'll be back to kick off hour 3 right after this. Stay right there.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Career changers, including veterans and active duty service members. Your transition starts here. Go from GI to IT in a matter of months. Become a certified cyber warrior with training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, offering IT pros great opportunities and a rewarding lifestyle while protecting our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. Deploy your career in IT today at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
Staples presents That Was Easy.
So I'm opening a second location for my coffee shop this year?
I smell trouble brewing.
I needed to print new menus, loyalty cards, window signage, so I went to Staples.
That'll cost you a latte. Get it?
Uh-huh. Actually, I saved $100 on my print order, and everything looks amazing.
Well, grind my beans and call me impressed.
Staples made it easy.
If your business needs to print, let's go Staples.
That was easy.
Offer valid in-store and online. Ends 1/31. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
Have you been thinking about doing a Roth conversion, but the upfront taxes are holding you back? Welcome to Rothright. We can show you how to significantly reduce taxes on a conversion, potentially saving hundreds of thousands, even millions in taxes over your lifetime. A Roth conversion will give you tax-free income, eliminate required minimum distributions, and leave a tax-free estate for your heirs. Call 855-415-ROTH. That's 855-415-ROTH. Or visit Rothright.com. Accredited investors only. Rothright is not a financial advisory firm. Consult with a tax professional before making any financial decision.
Score the winning touchdown at Borgata during the $700,000 home field hangout drawing. Earn entries for your chance to be one of the lucky winners to get $25,000 to create your dream home theater. Drawings every Saturday. Grand prize drawing January 31st. Score big during home field hangout. Only at Borgata Hotel, Casino and Spa. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
About to slam into nearly half of the nation. CBS's Allison Keyes reports.
Travelers who have already rebooked flights ahead of the winter storm are sitting pretty, and some had a little help from the airlines.
They send a message, almost 2 days before our flight that they were canceling.
Some airlines, including American, are moving planes and personnel around to be prepared for the storm's aftermath, and Delta is sending experts from its hubs to help with de-icing and baggage support in southern airports.
Peace talks get underway in the United Arab Emirates in an effort to end Russia's war in Ukraine. CBS's Erica Brown reports from Washington, D.C.
Representatives from Ukraine, Russia, and the U.S. met in Abu Dhabi Friday, according to U.S. officials, for the first three-way negotiations to end the war in Ukraine. The joint talks are seen as a sign of progress, but control of territory is a big sticking point.
President Trump and Vice President Vance have addressed the annual March for Life in Washington, D.C. CBS's Linda Kenyon has the latest from the White House.
Hello to everyone at the March for Life.
In a videotaped message, President Trump said his administration has made great strides.
We have stopped forced taxpayer funding of abortion at home and abroad.
Vice President Vance made an announcement from the stage.
Our administration is proud to announce a historic expansion of the Mexico City policy.
The Mexico City policy bars foreign aid from programs that subsidize abortion. The expansion will bar aid for supporting DEI programs. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Organizers say dozens of faith leaders were arrested today while protesting at the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport as part of an effort to call for an end to ICE arrests in the area. The Columbia Heights Public School District said ICE agents used a boy as bait to lure his father into custody before detaining them both this week. Marcos Charles of ICE says that's not how it went down.
When officers approached Conejo Arias, he and his child were in a vehicle. Arias fled from law enforcement on foot, abandoning his child in the middle of winter in a vehicle.
Charles says his officers took care of the child. Meantime, thousands of people have marched through downtown Minneapolis, and a rally is scheduled to take place inside the Target Center arena. On Wall Street, the S&P 500 closed barely changed today and notched a second straight week with a modest loss. The Dow dipped 0.6%. The Nasdaq rose 0.3%. The majority of U.S. stocks fell, including Intel. Gold rose to another record. This is CBS News.
Welcome to Duke's Mayo Country, where the mayo is so smooth and creamy, it makes every bite better. Duke's Mayo. Look for the yellow lid.
My name is
WPHT, HD, WOGL, HD3, Philadelphia. From the Piazza Auto Group Studios, experience the power of one with 8 brands and 25 locations. Always live on the free Odyssey app. Now, The Drive at 5. 30 minutes of nonstop talk from Talk Radio 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back. Third and final hour of the afternoon show on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Taking you all the way to 6 o'clock. Shawn Farash, and occasionally the wife is here. Brendan Farash is here.
Me.
She's the one who will stab you in the YouTube chat if you do not hit the like button.
Yeah. You better like it or else.
Which has been authorized by the great Greg Stocker, by the way.
Oh, he thinks that's hilarious.
He thinks
when
that's
I'm watching
funny.
in the mornings.
He's like, is she going to stab anyone today?
And what's fun is there's a silly person in the chat who has created a
name
Brennan's knife, and it's
Yes.
not me.
It's not her.
It's not me.
Somebody else is doing that. Not there's no conspiracy here. No collusion. No collusion. No collusion. All right. I put out a request for calls, regarding how we would want to tackle the issue of reaching independence to win the midterms. And we do have a caller waiting with a 3-point plan to help the GOP going into the midterms. And I think we actually heard from this gentleman in the morning on Kale and Company this morning. Obviously, Nick was out. He's got the China virus. It came from China. It came from China. And it's a nasty thing, the China virus. It came from China. It's a really nasty thing. Let's go to this caller, Bo in Levittown. What's up, Bo?
Shawn, first of all, I want you to know that successful, good-looking, and smart people all have cats. So
yeah,
I just wanted to let you know that.
I agree. Yes, my wife and I agree. Successful, smart, and good-looking people all have cats. I agree. That's good. Very nice.
So
yes.
I want to gain over independence in those Trump voters that don't vote, which happened here in my beautiful county of Bucks. I want Mike Johnson out on the bully pulpit every day. The first thing I want him to say to everybody out there in La La Land, the United States of America, is Democrats want boys and girls sports. And the second point, I want him to have 20 posters of illegal alien criminals that were apprehended in various locations throughout the country. Every single day, with all the Republican women Congress people behind them. To show people that we do like women, that we do have smart women in the cabinet and who are Congress people. And I hate to say it, but we happen to have the best looking women in Congress. I don't know what it is about.
There's no such thing as
women,
an attractive liberal. There's no such thing.
Well, you know what it is? They're ugly on the inside too. Which makes it even worse.
They're ugly inside and out, right? People are like, what's the matter? You don't think AOC is attractive? I'm like, no, she looks like a donkey. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, the second thing is, where President Trump made a mistake in the beginning. He talked about bringing our prices down. Unfortunately, what had happened is that Biden, these prices were baked in. It was a new starting point. You got to start saying, you know what, under me, inflation is this and that. Your prices won't rise as much because any smart person knows that the only way the prices will truly go down is if we have deflation, which isn't necessarily good for the economy.
You don't want deflation, right? You want wages to
we want to raise people's wages and that type of thing, and that's what he needs to focus on when it comes to affordability. And he needs to let people know that the Democrats really have no policy or plans to do that, other than riding in helicopters and saying that they're for energy, but they don't produce energy like in our beautiful state of Pennsylvania. And I was telling my partner this morning, the reason why your son's gas bill in Pennsylvania is so high, it's not the fact that we don't have more gas than Saudi Arabia. It's the fact that Governor Shapiro isn't producing any, and you've brought it up before in your show, supply and demand. So people need to understand that too. So that would be another point to bring out. And like I said, the thing I saw today too that concerned me, being the type of business that I have, is Pennsylvania is the 6th worst state to start a business, and I hope Stacey Garrity focuses on that point with that chameleon and fraud Shapiro. Talking about Pennsylvania, and he's energy this and energy that. He's full of energy. Up as you know what.
I think I know what type of energy you're talking about. Yeah, I think I know what type of energy you're talking about.
I enjoy your show. Have a safe weekend. I'm going to go pick up some bourbon for the whole weekend and enjoy it, from that standpoint. And good luck.
There you go.
With everything.
Thank you so much, Bo. Appreciate it. Thank you. Bo in Levittown. Great call. Enjoy that bourbon, right? Drink responsibly. I guess if you're buying some bourbon, stay warm in the snow. You can stay a little warm. You feel a little warm, but it actually lowers your body temperature, but you feel a little warm. It's nice. I used to play the game with the snow. We used to hide a few beers in the snow. You find them, you drink them. It's like finders keepers, like a scavenger hunt. It's like an Easter egg hunt, except the eggs are really fun to find in the snow. But bringing up great points about these 80-20 issues. That's the biggest problem. We have these 80-20 issues. Lean into them. We're on the 80% side of every single one of them. Every single one of them. Mass deportations was a popular campaign trail item in 2024. Very popular. Mass deportations. Lean into it. right? We don't have to, and I'm sometimes a little guilty of this, lean into the brutality of it. I don't, do I hate seeing, an illegal alien not hogtied, but apprehended and thrown into the back of a van, like Hillary Clinton after the Al Smith dinner, like a sack of potatoes? I mean, I don't hate it because you wouldn't be dealing with that if you weren't in the country illegally. Is that a message, if I'm like, yeah, just round them up, throw them in there, hog time, and we'll do the Trump pult, fly them over does that necessarily play well for independence? Well, if they don't have a sense of humor, maybe it won't. But yeah, the men and women sports stuff is a very interesting and polarizing and attention grabbing item. But most importantly, I think the average Joe cares a lot about affordability. How much does food cost in that grocery store? And while prices may not be going down, prices proportional to your wage may be going down. And that means your wages are outpacing inflation, which will in turn make things more affordable. Why don't we go to another caller? Another one wants to talk about how to convince independents. It's Al in Malvern. What's up, Al?
Hey, Shawn, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Convincing people, let me get this turned down. Convincing people is first to understand there's 5 types of people in this country, at least the way I see it. There are people that are nice people that have been fooled by, you can say, the media or whatnot. There are tools that are the fooled people that are freely, for no money, regurgitating the garbage. There's paid operatives, people knowingly, the protesters, people that are bought in Congress, whatever. And then I'm going to say there's people that are enlightened. The fair amount of people that know what's going on, that have vetted the information, I dare say a fair amount of them are patriots. And don't get me wrong, there's people on the other side that truly believe like communism is good. So to me, it's nothing more than an advertising campaign. It would be like Trump turning to the camera and saying, look, I get it. You hate me, but I'm the surgeon you'll want when you're on the operating table to save your life, and then get the nice guy afterwards, and then literally just give contrasting examples. Hey, we had ICE here. We took out 2,000 criminals. Please look at your crime statistics before and after. The price of gas was here, and now it's there. It was almost remember when Ross Perot would go on and just show the data on the TV commercials that he would do? Same idea, literally the before and after, and here I am. I'm doing it for you, and I'm doing all the dirty work for you. And then you can go down every list, world politics to local things. I do believe that would do it. And you're appealing to the people that have been fooled.
I think you're right about that, Al. Thank you for the call. It's an interesting technique. It's called contrast messaging. Dan Bongino in his podcast used to bring this up all the time, and it's actually one of the reasons why. And I'm a big fan of creative people. I'll put it that way. And one of my favorite people in the music industry is a guy by the name of Ryan Tedder, and he probably leans a little to the left, but he's very creative. If you've heard some of the top 40 songs on radio right now, he's probably written and produced a handful of them, maybe half of them, right? I mean, I love other creative people, even if I don't agree with their politics. I love creativity. And one of the things, he launched a brand of it was a hemp infused, legal, nothing intoxicating, CBD infused drink. It was called Mad Tasty, and his branding was white letters on a black hat. And Dan Bongino used to say in his podcast, why do jewelers like to put diamonds on a black background? A diamond, you could look at a diamond, you could look at it up against anything. It's a diamond. It's shiny, it's nice, it's a hard gem. It's, they say it's a woman's best friend, all these things. A diamond it's beautiful, it's a gemstone. But why do they put it on a black background instead of on a yellow background, or instead of on a brown background, or instead of on a white background? Because of the contrast. Because the contrast allows you to see all the beautiful intricacies of that diamond, all of the different cuts and all of those different, the prism effect and all the reflections and all the shimmering. You can see it more clearly when it's contrasted against that black background. And so this idea that Al and Malvern was just talking about, which I love, contrast messaging. Here's where we were. Here's where we are. We had hundreds of thousands of people, many of whom who are on this website, dhs.gov/wow, pouring into the country. Drugs, human smuggling, homicide, assault, carjacking, et cetera, all of these nasty things. We don't have that anymore. As Al said, you may not like me because instead of viewing me as a surgeon, you think I'm going to stab you. No, what we're going to do is we're going to do something that's going to keep you alive. Okay, we're going to do something for surgeons. They will cut you open. If you have some rando on the street who cuts you open, you may bleed out and die. You have a surgeon who cuts you open. There's a reason. It's strategic. There's an end game there, right? Contrast messaging is so important going into 2026. Are things perfect? No. Are things ever going to be perfect? No. We cannot set perfection as the goal, because then you're always going to fall short, but we can set as close to perfect as possible. The border is as close to perfect as possible right now. The economy, that's not as close to perfect as possible, but it's better. The trillions of dollars that's going to be flowing into this country through foreign investment, through tariffs, and all of those different those means that are going to be, where the money's going to be flowing in, that's going to create jobs. What happens when you create jobs? What happens when you have all these manufacturing jobs returning back to the country? Wages are going to increase. There's going to be a competition that these businesses are going to engage in to earn your labor, right? I mean, when I used to work at a paint store, okay, I used to know people who were getting ready to leave and go to the competitor, and they would put the offer that the competitor offered them up against, who we worked for, and their wages would increase because of competition. Competition's a good thing. But this contrast messaging is the way to go, where you can say, hey, you may not like me. You may not like the way Donald Trump can say, you may not like the way I talk. You may not like the way I post on social media. You may not like the way I phrase some things. You may not like how aggressive I am with immigration, but oh my goodness, is your life better or worse than it is right now? Than it was under Biden? Is your life better than it is now? Is your life better now than it was under Biden? Get it out. Is your life better now than it was over the last 4 years under Democrat control? And a lot of these people are going to answer that question. Yes, it is. Okay? Contrast messaging. You don't stick a diamond on a white paper towel. You put it on a black background because it shows you, that contrast allows you to see the beauty of what you've created. The beauty of that gemstone. That's why you put that on a black background. And this is why when we were creating our merch for Loud Majority, I said white letters on a black background, contrast. Everyone will know what you're wearing a mile away. And so we did. A lot of people were wearing our hoodies, I'll tell you, and our bumper stickers and all that. So I think that's a great idea to put some contrast messaging strategies in place from this administration. 100%. 100%. We were talking about law and order for quite a bit this afternoon. And I want to play this clip from Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, who just grossly misrepresents the FACE Act. We hear about this FACE Act, right? It's the statute that was used against people like Bevelyn Beatty and Mr. Houck, who was, praying at an abortion clinic, and they tried to throw him in jail. So I want to play this clip from Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, who believes that the FACE Act only applies to abortion clinics. Let's roll that clip from Ellison.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the FACE Act. In Minnesota, we uphold the right of a woman to choose, and some of the activists, will, sort of so we're in both. It has to, the law has to do with whether or not people's freedom to protest generally regarding reproductive clinics and things like that. So that's the FACE Act.
You see, he's either dumb, which I think is a distinct possibility, or he's lying by omission, which I think is an even more distinct possibility. It could be a blend of both. 18 U.S. Code Section 248, freedom of access to clinic entrances. That is the FACE Act. That is the exact statute in U.S. Code, 18 U.S. Code Section 248. Freedom of access to clinic entrances. Prohibited activities. Subsection A. Whoever, by force or threat of force or by physical obstruction, intentionally injures, intimidates, or interferes with, or attempts to injure, intimidate, or interfere with any person because that person is or has been, or in order to intimidate such person or any other person or any class of persons from obtaining or providing reproductive health services. That's Section 1 of the FACE Act. Section 2, whoever, by force or threat of force or by physical obstruction, intentionally injures, intimidates, or interferes with, or attempts to injure, intimidate, or interfere with any person lawfully exercising or seeking to exercise the First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of religious worship. It's not just about reproductive health centers. It's not just about abortion clinics. Places of worship is in the statute. It's part of the statutory language. This isn't one of these things where, it's been interpreted in various court cases that a place of worship may qualify. No, it's literally verbatim. I just read you the statutory language of the FACE Act, 18 U.S. Code Section 248. I just read you the statutory language. By force, anyone who by force or threat of force or by physical obstruction intentionally injures, intimidates, or interferes with, or attempts to injure, intimidate, or interfere with any person lawfully exercising or seeking to exercise the First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of religious worship. That is the exact statutory language of the FACE Act, which the Attorney General, the highest law enforcement official in the state of Minnesota, believes or said on the Don Lemon Show doesn't exist. Just forgot to mention that altogether. As if you can't go after any of these people for doing what they did at the church because under the FACE Act, because the FACE Act is only about reproductive health centers and health clinics. Garbage. Absolute garbage. So he said that on the Don Lemon Show. Is it any surprise to any of you listening? Is it a surprise at all that the judge who let Don Lemon walk, who refused to sign that criminal complaint and criminal charge against Don Lemon for infringing on the First Amendment rights of those in that church, those people in that church have, those churchgoers had the right, constitutionally protected right to practice their religion in that place of worship uninterrupted, undisturbed. And those people absolutely were intimidated. Those people had their service absolutely interfered with. Those people had their service obstructed. It was ended. Their service was cut short because of the people who stormed that church. The First Amendment says that Congress shall make no law infringing on the First Amendment rights of the press and religious freedom and the right to peaceably assemble. That was not a peaceful assembly. And the FACE Act is not an unconstitutional law because it does not infringe on people's right to peacefully assemble or peaceably assemble. It criminalizes behavior that infringes on other people's civil rights. Namely, in this case, the right of religious freedom at a place of religious worship. Period. And Don Lemon did it, and he knew it was going to happen. He was out there with one of the people who just got arrested, Nikema Levy Armstrong. Well, it's a clandestine operation. We can't say what they're going to do, but he knew. I mean, he brought them, Starbucks and donuts. I don't know if you can consider that, providing material support, but he knew. That's where the Ku Klux Klan Act comes in. That becomes now the conspiracy to deprive people and infringe on people's civil rights. Is it any surprise to you that the judge who refused to sign the criminal complaint that the Department of Justice wanted to charge, sign off on the charges for Don Lemon, that judge's wife works as an assistant to Attorney General Keith Ellison, who just in that clip with Don Lemon that we played on the Don Lemon show made it very clear that he doesn't think that the folks who absolutely violated the FACE Act when they stormed that church, he doesn't think they actually violated the FACE Act. Is it any shock to any of you that this judge's wife is one of Keith Ellison's assistants? Magistrate Douglas Micco refused to sign off on the charges for Lemon. Now they're going to have to pursue, I guess, through a grand jury. I'm not exactly sure how this process works, but Micco's wife, Caitlin Micco, has also shown support for anti-ICE protests on LinkedIn. Conflict of interest, anybody? Conflict of interest? It's a clear conflict of interest. And as much flack as I have given the Department of Justice, as much flack as I have given Pam Bondi and their lack of action here, there's not really much. There's not really much they can do when a judge decides that they're not going to sign off on charges that they want to bring, other than pursuing another means, like going through a grand jury. I'm not making excuses for the DOJ here. But in this case, criticism of this is probably, misguided, right? Or unwarranted. What are you supposed to do? You bring the charge to a judge. It's clear as day what he did. And the judge said, nah. And you find out that the judge's wife works for the attorney general who thinks all of this stuff was okay. Ridiculous. Completely and totally ridiculous. All right. When we come back, we're going to come back and we have a caller. So I see you, Joe, in Somerton. I see you. Hang tight. Wants to talk about turning independents to the Republican Party. We'll get to you next segment when we come back here on the WPHT Afternoon Show. Shawn Farash taking you all the way up to 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. We've got that. Maybe any updates on the Clintons. Are they going to be held in contempt? And I got a funny clip from a Somali. They have these room temperature IQ. Their IQ is low enough to keep your freezer cold in the event of a power outage. We'll play a clip from them, I think, next segment too, and have a little laugh as we close in on the end of hour 3 and the end of this 1210 WPHT Afternoon Show. We're back with more right after this. Don't go anywhere.
Now you can listen to Talk Radio 1210 WPHT on the iHeartRadio app.
Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. Visit trustandwill.com for details.
Trust and Will.
My dad and I were always close, but some things we just didn't talk about, like his will. After he was gone, we found out he didn't have one, and it created a lot of stress during a time of grief.
Creating a will can be hard to think about, but avoiding it can lead to greater difficulty for the people you love. That's why Trust and Will makes estate planning simple. Create a will online in as little as 30 minutes.
Now, I have a will in place to make sure my loved ones are protected. With Trust and Will, it was easy and affordable, and I got peace of mind knowing my wishes are clear.
Trust and Will.
Get 20% off when you visit trustandwill.com/plan. That's trustandwill.com/plan to get 20% off. trustandwill.com/PLAN.
There's a reason that potato chips don't come in a clear bag.
There's only 8 chips in this bag.
That's why. It's only about 2/3 full. The rest is air. It's a lot like opening up your 401k at retirement. You get about 2/3 of it, and the rest goes to Uncle Sam. Jim Cipriotti at the Retire Ready Financial Group can help. His tax mapping process can help forecast what your tax bill will be in the future, and that way you can build a strategy now to potentially decrease your tax bill in retirement. In other words, more for you and less for Uncle Sam. Call today for your complimentary retirement tax mapping report, 610-894-7415. That's 610-894-7415. Or find them online at retirereadyfg.com and get Uncle Sam's greedy hands out of your retirement.
Hey, you've had enough.
With a complimentary tax mapping report from Jim Cipriotti. Investment advisory services offered through Retire Ready Wealth Management, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through James V. Cipriotti, Retire Ready Financial Group, LLC, NPN number 2083768.
Snow, ice, wind, cold.
Quite cold. Travel is going to become extremely difficult and dangerous.
The biggest storm in years is bearing down on Philadelphia. Now's the time to prepare. Up-to-the-minute details on traffic, power outages, and everything you need to keep you and your family safe. Stay connected. Ask your smart speaker to play KYW News Radio. Or listen on the Odyssey or iHeartRadio apps. Storm coverage you can count on. KYW News Radio, 103.9 FM.
You'd love new windows, but you don't want to pay a fortune for them. Well, January is a great time of year thanks to Window Nation. Right now, they're more affordable during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 Windows Free sale. Plus, you could get them with 0 down, 0 monthly payments, and 0 interest for 2 years. If you're feeling cold drafts from your windows, or seeing fog or mold around the frame, or paying a lot more for heat than your neighbors are, it's time for new windows. Don't wait to put an end to your window problems. Visit windownation.com now.
I'm Paul Cozy from Cozy Jewelers, and we're not your typical jewelry store. We're a family-owned jeweler and manufacturer, crafting nearly every piece right here in-house. When you shop with us, you're getting a curated, custom design experience, not just a selection of cases on a shelf. That means every piece is personal, crafted with care, and made to last. If you want something different, truly unique, and made just for you, this is fine jewelry the way it's meant to be. Come see us in Newtown Square and step up to the 5th C. Color, cut, clarity, carat, and cozy.
On a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic, available online at Amazon, NewNordicUSA.com, or your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
Broadcasting live from the Piazza Premium Automobile Studios.
Powering your drive with 10 brands and 20 locations.
Talk Radio 1210, WPHT.
Welcome back here. Midway through hour 3, it's 5:31. I was not going to even come back. Just going to let that Red Hot Chili Peppers play all the way through. Scar Tissue, off one of their best albums, Californication, which, by the way, the title song of that album, Californication, is that not one of the most eerily prophetic songs in all of music? Californication. When you look at the lyrics of that song, what that song predicted and called out. Unfortunately, Anthony Kiedis he leans pretty far to the left. But and what a story he's got. See, this is what I'm saying. I love these. He's a creative guy. Overcame a lot. Big time heroin addict, and got clean. And he's been clean for over 20 years, which is huge for him. But I mean, think about this. When that song came out, 1999 is when that song came out. Pay your surgeon very well to break the spell of aging. Celebrity skin, is this your chin or is that war you're waging? Firstborn unicorn, hardcore, soft porn. Just when you listen to that song and you just hear that he's basically saying California is a beautiful place, but it will eat you alive. Eric Church, the country singer, actually wrote a song very similar to that. Called Devil is the second song of the track, but there was a Dark Side, I think, is the first. It's about the music industry and how it will just swallow you. Nashville and Vegas and these places will just swallow you whole. It's just it's a very prophetic song. So you come in here with the Red Hot Chili Peppers with the bumper music, and now you're going to get me waxing poetic about. I think one of the best bands in the 90s. Although they started before the 90s, but they dominated. They were just phenomenal. I've been listening to a lot of their music lately, and it's just good stuff. It's just such good stuff. So creative. All right, let's get. We have a call here. Joe in Somerton wants to talk about turning independents to the Republican Party. Go ahead, Joe. What's up?
Well, I'm glad you brought up there California, because that's one of the biggest nemesis you're going to have is Gavin Newsom. So,
agreed.
What I want to be clear with, is one that I'm an ex-Navy special ops, and I've been in other countries, and I see these people rioting, protesting.
Thank you for your service, by the way. Thank you.
And the problem, even with the conservative media, Fox and even 1210, is you keep saying these people on the left are left-wing lunatics. They're not left-wing lunatics. They're full-blown communists. And when you start portraying these are communists, AOC, Gavin Newsom, Pritzker, I think Pritzker likes the immigration so he can eat. I think he eats the immigrants.
He may either eat the immigrants or eats the food that they make when they come here. But no, you're right. They are communists. Absolutely. Branding matters.
I think he actually eats the immigrants. He says that.
He might.
But
I mean, it may explain his size, yes.
And he also likes the immigrants to get the taxpayers' money because that's what he and his family have made their money on, their hotels.
That's right. Yep.
But the point is everything that you see here in America that has social unrest and division, everything, Black Lives Matters, critical race theory, transgender nonsense, men in sports, is all only to cause social unrest and division. That comes from Mao Zedong. Mao Zedong said, control the media, control the mind, control the people. Okay?
Yep.
And I know that you've had Xi Van's fleet on here. You need to bring on Lily Tang Williams, who came from communist China and said that the indoctrination in the schools is exactly what Mao Zedong did. And people in this country, honestly, are just stupid because of the education system that tells them that America's evil, America's racist, America's this, but communism's better, okay? These are all people that never came from a communist country. These are people that never saw North Korea where there's no food on the shelves. They have never come from Cuba where if America is so evil, why do the Cubans get on a raft and come across and hopefully get the right current in shark-infested waters with their children? Why is that?
It's a good point. Yeah, there's no one goes the other way, right? No one flees the rigidity, right? No one flees the rugged individualism for communism, right? They always go the other way. They always flee communism for freedom.
Brings up that the Chinese communists starved 72 million people of their own people in a thing called the Great Leap. Why not put that on there? Is this what you want? Is this what you want? And you can tell that guy with the beard in Minnesota, if he ever came to my church, he wouldn't leave alive. Okay, I'm telling you.
There you go.
Okay,
got to do what you got to do.
This is also another problem, and Donald Trump to bring it up, that the Republicans are too easy, too nice. If you don't want to fight them now, you're going to have to fight them later. And you need to fight them now.
You're going to have to fight them now and keep them from taking over, rather than fight them later when they have all the power and can suppress your will. I agree with you.
That's exactly right. And
there you go.
I'm trying to get a group together, Veterans Against Domestic Enemies. And if you're on the list, you're going to have a problem. So these people, you in America, need to stand up. You need to be ready to fight. And again, we're here 250 years. Communism's only been around since 1917. Okay? And maybe you ought to show how many people that Stalin killed, how many people that Mao Zedong killed, how many people. The Khmer Rouge in Cambodia killed 1/3 of his people.
Pol Pot,
Pol Pot. Okay? So, people pretend, and you're listening to chameleons like Gavin Newsom. Personally, I think he should be in jail for involuntary manslaughter, right? He has time to go over to China, but he can't figure out how to get the water from Northern California to Southern California. He doesn't have time to cut the brush back, but he has time to go over to communist China. So why is he in communist China?
Now you bring up a good point, Joe, and it's all about branding. We should brand these, and thank you for the call. We should brand these people as communists, not just left-wing lunatics. They're further than just left-wing lunatics. You're right. This is communism. You're right. These are people who have not experienced communism. They think it's going to be all good and great. Oh, we'll do it the right way. There is no right way. Stalin is responsible for the deaths of tens of millions of people. Cuba, same deal. Venezuela, same deal. North Korea, same deal. China, same deal. The Khmer Rouge, yes. Everywhere it's been tried, it has resulted in starvation, genocide, oppression, mass death, you name it. That's what happens. And yet you have these people in this country who are being cheerleaders for communism, and it simply will not work. I want to go to another caller, Mike in Hamilton. He's got a story about not Californicating Colorado. What's up, Mike?
Yo, how you doing?
You tell me. How you doing? What's up, Mike in Hamilton?
No, I'm good. Remember me last week? I called you with the description of that you
the people who like
person of many colors.
Yes.
But anyway, in 1974, I lived in Colorado, right outside of Colorado Springs, in a place called Manitou Springs, which was right near Pikes Peak. And back then, a lot of people were moving from California to Colorado, and there were actually bumper stickers that said, "Don't Californicate Colorado."
Yeah. Yeah, there were always signs. And now Colorado is quite Californicated, isn't it?
Yes. I haven't been there in a long time. But what it was about was people were building condos on the hillsides of Colorado near all the ski resorts. And that was the thing. Like, they didn't want all those people there from California.
Right.
Anywho.
Well, it makes sense.
Great show. Good to talk to you again.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Mike in Hamilton. Appreciate it. And stay safe in that wild weather that's headed your way. You know, it is a very important 9.5, 10 months coming up in this midterms. Joe in Somerton highlights a very important, an extremely important point. And that is, these are communists that we're fighting. These are not just Democrats. These are communists. There may be some people who go, "Oh, come on, really? Are they communists?" Yes. They're literally out there defending Nicolas Maduro. Yes, they're communists, pushing all sorts of, communist messaging, like Zoran the Moron in New York City. Taxpayer-funded universal child care is going to apply to illegal immigrants. This is that warmth of collectivism that we've been hearing about. Let's play cut 23.
Clearly, these are programs for every single New Yorker. These are not programs that are going to ask the immigration status of any one of the children. All of those children are New Yorkers. They should all be enrolled in pre-K and 3K, no matter where they were born or where they come from. And we are also proud to be a sanctuary city. What a sanctuary city means is that we have policies in place, policies that have existed for years in this city, that deny ICE agents access into schools, hospitals, city properties, or even the properties of city contractors, unless those ICE agents can present a judicial warrant signed by a judge. We know that the vast majority of the time, ICE agents are not presenting that kind of documentation. If they're presenting any documentation, it tends to be an administrative warrant, and oftentimes there isn't any documentation even provided. So we want to make clear the rights of every New Yorker that they have.
Yeah, great, wonderful. So illegal aliens are going to, and by the way, this is taxpayer-funded universal child care. Child care. I could already hear a bunch of Somalis in Columbus, Ohio, and Maine, and Minneapolis saying, "Well, our jig is up in these places. Let's go open some child cares in New York City. Let's go open some child cares in New York City." Speaking of Somalis, I want to play. This is a really funny clip. They say they have a low IQ. I don't know. Is IQ one of these things that's subjective? I don't know. I don't really care. I think it's funny to mock them because they say dumb things all the time. Like that one guy was like, oh, somebody broke in and stole all the documentation that exonerates us. Yeah, ain't that convenient? The dog ate your homework, I'm sure. Let's roll. This is a hilarious clip. My wife found it during the show. She says, you got to look at this. It's so funny. I watched it during the break. It was so funny. Let's play cut 22. Being Somali is more than bananas and rice. This is great. Cut 22, go.
So I'm Somali. I'm proud to be Somali. To me, being Somali isn't just eating bananas with rice. It's a lot. It's like it's an interesting thing. It's very hard to describe what it means to be Somali and what it means to be American. But it's like a cultural fusion. It's kind of like the bananas and rice. People don't really see, like, people don't think, oh, you can eat bananas with rice, but that's what it's like to be Somali and American. It's like that combination of banana and rice, but you're gonna get what I mean.
Yeah, I don't get a word about you. You know what? For those of you who watch the morning show, that's a word salad. The fork is out. It's more than just bananas and rice. And then for the next 30 seconds, all you do is compare it to something. You say, well, it's more than just that. But that's all you were able to come up with is bananas and rice? Maybe you do eat that. I don't know. But I'm not like, hey, you know what being Italian's like? It's like eating pizza. It's more than eating pizza, but it's just like eating pizza. You know what I mean? These people, what? Fine. You know what? She's not a good speaker, whatever. Oh, you're going to really get on her for not being. That was the dumbest and the most inefficient use of oxygen and speech I think I have seen probably since Kamala Harris ran for president. But, being Somali is, it's more than just bananas and rice. It's just like eating bananas and rice, though. You get it? No. No, I don't get it. And I don't know. I don't know if bananas and rice is a thing. And so I have no idea. I don't care. I just thought that was silly, and I thought that was dumb, and that just, kind of, oh, yeah, okay, Somalis don't have a very high IQ. I think it's a good example of that. All right, let's, wondering if they stole that speech from Socrates. Just profound levels of Marcus Aurelius is rolling in his grave. How did I not think of that? They're rolling in their graves. The Stoics, the philosophers, Albert Einstein, William Shakespeare. To eat bananas and rice or not to eat bananas and rice? That is the question. I don't know. I don't know if that question will ever be answered. Hey, when we come back, we're going to wrap up this edition of WPHT Afternoons here with Shawn Farash. We will be back taking you to 6 o'clock and wrapping up this week and wrapping up this show right after this. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Paramount Plus is the new home of UFC, and we're coming out swinging with UFC 324.
Oh, what a shot!
And 325.
Boom!
On back-to-back weekends, the new era is here.
It's time!
Every fight.
Bam! Let's go!
One subscription.
Oh my goodness!
Pay-per-view just got knocked out.
Let's go!
Back-to-back blockbuster UFC events this month only on Paramount Plus.
Dawn Stensland here. Oh, the excitement is building. Portugal and Spain this spring. I wouldn't go anywhere across the pond unless Conservative Tours was running the show for you. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. And after the last 2 adventures in Europe with you, I wouldn't recommend you to anybody else. Fine dining with great wines, seaside villages that take your breath away. They are so stunning to behold. 5738, yes, that includes your nonstop flight from Philadelphia to Lisbon. the picturesque Douro River Valley, 4-star hotel properties, and dining events to rival the best in Europe for 10 days. Portugal is Europe's best-kept secret. I want to take you there before the secret's out. Private Portuguese tour escort, step over the border into Galicia in Old World Spain, fly home from Porto. 888-733-9494, conservativetours.com. Tell them Dawn sent you.
Newsmax, you like Newsmax. I like it too. Newsmax has been terrific.
President Trump is right. Millions like you are tuning into Newsmax. You're watching Newsmax on cable. You're going to our streaming channel, Newsmax 2. And you're downloading our free Newsmax app on your smartphones and TVs. Reuters Institute says we're now one of the top news brands in the nation. Every night, watch great shows with Rob Schmidt, Carl Higbie, Rob Finnerty, and more as they expose the big media lies, the Washington swamp, and they're never afraid to talk about faith, freedom, and the values that made us great. Find out why Newsmax is the fastest-growing news channel in America. Make the switch today and join our news revolution. Get Newsmax on cable, on streaming, and download the free app today. It takes just seconds to start. Let President Trump know you stand with Newsmax. It's for real news, for real people. Make the switch today.
Build your team, build it sooner. Need your match on ZipRecruiter.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Need to hire right away. Start your search for strong candidates. The right fit awaits. All your roles, fill them sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free, and you're on your way to meeting your match. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So try it now. Go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Follow Talk Radio 1210 on Instagram and Facebook at 1210 WPHT.
Welcome back to the WPHT afternoon show. Shawn Farash taking you up until 6 o'clock Eastern time here, where we conclude the week and we conclude this 3-hour show. It always goes by so fast. Always goes by so fast. It really does. It's so much fun doing this with you guys, with the great Matt and Justin there, keeping everything going, rolling despite, couple of issues. We got it back up and running, no problem. We got calls coming in from so many people all over the place. We're having a good time. I love talking to the listeners. It's one of my favorite things. I grew up listening to sports radio, and it was everybody had an opinion about who should have pitched the 8th inning and who should be starting at quarterback and who should be point guard and who should be starting goaltender and who should be the next head coach, who should be the next manager. And it was just always cool. It was like, wow, there's so many people who are listening right now, just talking and sharing their opinions. And I love it. And that's why I put that question out earlier in the show today. And I said, give me a call with how you think we can reach independence. And we got so many good ideas. That's what it's going to take for us to win in 2026. Let's bring all those ideas to the table. Let's let the best ideas win. Let's put those ideas into practice and let's win this damn thing. Let's win. That's why I love it. Yeah, that's why I love doing any sort of work on 1210 WPHT. The greatest audience, very generous, very smart, very in tune, and very, very passionate people. It's amazing. Love it. So much fun. I want to say good luck to everybody with this big weather, this massive storm that's headed your way. For us down here in Tennessee, it looks like it's going to be, an ice storm, possibly maybe a little more rain than ice. I hope a little more rain than ice. Keep those power lines warm and keep them from having too much ice accumulate on them. Obviously, power outages are going to be a threat anywhere. We definitely don't want to lose power here, especially with how cold it's going to be. But for anybody, whether you're up in the I-95 corridor, you're Philly to Boston, DC, Virginia, wherever you may be, because we are streaming live on YouTube, so you can get this show anywhere. Please stay safe, and please, I really hope over the last couple of days you took the necessary precautions. Don't let anybody shame you into thinking you're like a doomsday prepper because there's a winter storm coming. The last thing you want to do is need something and not have it. I'd rather have an overabundance of food in my freezer and have an overabundance of canned goods and have an overabundance of consumables here, and the power not go out, than not have those things and be needing them and not have a way out, and power's out all over the place. So, some people are like, oh, you're taking this too seriously. It's overblown. Well, you don't want to get caught with your pants down. This is going to be a powerful storm. And sure, in some areas like where I used to live on Long Island, you've seen more snow. And in Philly, you've seen more snow. And in places like, southern New England, you've seen more snow. But that doesn't mean this won't be the time where your lights go out and you can't heat your home and now you don't have food, right? So I really hope everybody is prepared. I hope everybody's prepared for the worst and expect the best. And hopefully we all make it through in one piece. Do I think this is going to be the worst storm anybody's ever seen? No. Does it come with its risks? Absolutely. With a swath of about a foot of snow from Philly to Boston, this system, I've been looking at new updates during the break, is already developing quicker than most models had predicted. The intensity looks like it's going to be towards the higher end of those totals. Stay safe, stay dry, stay warm, be smart. And I can't wait to see you guys again next week. Obviously, be jumping in here with a couple of legends like Tony Bruno, Mike Opelka. Be back on with Kale and Company in the morning on Friday. We're going to have so much fun next week on this radio station. Appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you, Matt and Justin, again, for keeping this whole thing in the air. Thank you to the greatest audience in the history of radio and all of you who called in. Appreciate it. My name's Shawn Farash. You can follow me on X at SHAWN_FARASH. The website is Farash Media, FARASHmedia.com. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Stay safe in the storm, and we'll see you again soon.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was.